the man himself. I love it. Wowee in the house. We're going to talk about a spreadsheet. What he's got going on here is pretty phenomenal. This spreadsheet, I think, is going to be pretty invaluable. All right. When all the hero alpha comes out on combat, PvP, Pervy Sage, Workhorse, baby, killing it in the house. Lots going. DeFi Kingdoms, all kinds of bullish things happening. He's also going to be on later tonight with Bogside Chats. And those are the guru gamer guys. So I am pumped to hear that. I have the kids tonight, so I'm not sure if I'll be there live or not, like in listening. But hey, Eric, I think I'm going to have Eric on soon. I'm going to have lots of people on the channel soon, including also what's been blowing up today all of a sudden again is if you guys remember when I went to Miami, I was talking to this guy that's making a major, I think, really major TV show on crypto. And he wants to potentially have me on and maybe even have DeFi Kingdoms as one of their contestants in next crypto gym is what it's a reality TV show. And some of the most, he told me not to disclose, but some of the largest crypto influencers the largest crypto influencers will be a part of that as well. I think it'll be, at first I wasn't so sure. And then, man, it just seems like it's taken off. So he wants to potentially have me on. I don't know exactly. We'll see. Possibly feature DeFi Kingdoms. Big deal there. Okay. So, but back to Wowee with the spreadsheet. So just imagine how valuable this spreadsheet is going to be. He's putting in all this awesome time into this, and I'm pumped. Hopefully, okay, we talked yesterday. He didn't even know really about what's going on with the building program, different things, what's coming possibly down the pipeline. We're thinking is C Joule, S Joule. There'll be a number where you can apply your C Joule or S Joule in the jeweler to different influencers, to different devs, different projects, third-party developers, third-party projects developing in the ecosystem, and you still own the jewel, okay? But the interest goes to that dev website. So all these different third-party tools, all these different things, it'll be an opportunity for people to be able to make a little income. And I think this has a lot of potential. His strength, he said, one of the things Wowee, who's on, said yesterday was he's not really good at anything except this is what he's good at. He's good at this form of gaming. He's done it for years, and he's a guru with these kinds of things. And so he just had the heart to want to help the community and put this out there like so many in this community are doing. That's phenomenal. Hey, Aaron Price also was on yesterday. We were talking, I want to get you on again, Aaron, and talk more Fight Club. Man, so much good stuff going on. So how are you today, Wowee, baby?
Hey, fam. I'm doing great today, and I'm super excited to be on.
Yes, I love it, man. Okay. And and you're also trying to start. So in the description, I've got his Twitter, and I've got a link to this sheet that is a view only sheet. So he makes updates on these. There's going to be buffs, nerfs to some of these different moves, skills that Workhorse is putting out. And as he makes updates to the spreadsheet, it'll just, as long as you hit refresh, which I'm going to do right now, because there's probably been updates since I had it up, it will just update on its own. It's beautiful like that. And so real quick on the layout of the sheet, if you look at the bottom of the sheet, okay, and hopefully you guys can see this, okay? I don't want to zoom in too much, okay? Maybe one more, let's try it. Okay, at the bottom, you see active and passive traits, okay? And traits, AKA abilities, AKA genes. These are the active 1 and 2, passive 1 and 2. He goes over these, and we can go over some of this more today. And again, all these things are subject to change. We hit on this yesterday with Rock, so some of this is going to get nerfed and buffed probably. All right. As the alpha beta testing goes on with the game, and there's going to be a period of time. So I wouldn't overreact to some of this, but it's so good to follow this and get a good idea, because so we're ahead of the game and we can start getting an idea of these different abilities or traits, okay, and on how things are going to work with the different heroes. And also, like, as we kind of put our teams together, also, we're going to go over on, because this also is now tying in on how to level heroes. We can hit on that again as well, like especially with Berserker, Archer, Knight. That's what we have out so far. Yesterday is what Knight came out. Okay, so and those are all down here on this bottom bar next to the active and passive traits, abilities, genes. Okay, is mechanics and terminology, which we can go over some of this, just definitions, different things on how to better understand kind of where this is going. Okay, and then like block, we hit on that yesterday, different things. Okay, and then you have the different heroes. This one's the Berserker with his skill tree, his skills, which some require mana, some don't actually. We're going to hit on that. So Berserker, Archer, Knight. I love it. Okay. Anything you want to start with, Wowee, on what is going on and what questions you may have that you just want to start off with?
Sure. I mean, I usually get a bunch of questions, or at least I hear a bunch of questions about, how do the ratings work, right? What makes something rated an A versus an S versus a D or an F? And I just want to go ahead and throw it out there that these ratings are on an individual basis, right? So this isn't taking into consideration what hero it's on. It's not taking into consideration what else it's going to pair with. It's only just itself and how usable it is and how much value you get out of using it right then and there. So an A or a B, it doesn't necessarily mean it's bad or a worse or a better choice. It just means it's more usable more often than a D or an F.
Okay. So it's like frequency of use, because some of
Right.
these, it's like only works when there's one guy left, one of them.
Right.
Which one was that? That
would be Duelist, which is basic
okay,
one for the passives.
a passive trait Duelist right here. And he gave that one a C, even though at specific times it might be amazing to have. Okay.
Right.
But more often than not, you can't use that. It's only when only that guy's left alive, and they only have one guy left alive. That's when that kicks in.
Right. So you only get the value out of this
Mhm.
if your guy with Duelist makes it to the very end 1v1.
That's the guy you're probably going to want to have in the back.
Yeah.
Got that. Whereas other ones are just awesome all the time with all heroes.
Right. So that would be things like Foresight there. I gave that an S rank because that is usable at all times.
At all times. And that's just an automatic, that's a passive trait, which means it's always active during the whole match.
Yeah, from the very beginning of the match all the way to the very end of the match, you are getting value from it.
And that is going to be valuable. Okay. Which is awesome. And that's why, okay. Are there any, what of these traits or abilities would you say are more kind of hero specific? Might be better with magic using or tank type guys.
Okay, yeah, that's a good question. So, basically, on the passive side, basic 3 through basic 8 are fairly hero specific, right?
Okay.
So, Chatterbox, for instance, basic 7.
Okay.
This is it's got a 40% chance to not be affected by silence, which honestly, a 40% buff or debuff resistance is huge. It's crazy. It's fantastic no matter what. But specifically, this is only useful on magic users. So, say for instance, our knight has Chatterbox, right? He has a 40% chance to resist being silenced. What does silence even do to a knight? It doesn't stop them from doing anything in their kit. They can still use all of it. The only thing it would stop them from doing is if they had a magic subclass.
Okay.
And it would only stop what they got from the subclass. So being silenced really doesn't affect a knight whatsoever. So this is borderline unusable on a knight.
Okay. So what does it mean to be okay? If a hero is silenced, it cannot deal magic damage, heal, or cast magic ability for 2 rounds. Oh. Okay.
Yeah,
So
so
like
if you
a
don't
knight,
use magic,
pirate, that's not going to be very good.
right?
Warrior, unless they have a magic using hero in the subclass.
Exactly.
So having Chatterbox. Okay. So having Chatterbox is really only good for your magic using heroes.
Exactly.
Okay.
So this is where you want to get kind of hero specific, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay, what's another one? Fearless?
Fearless is the exact opposite. This is actually
Okay.
super important to have on a knight character or a front line. I rated this one a little bit higher because it affects so much more of the game at once, right? If you get your knight in the front or your paladin or whoever
Yeah.
affected by fear, they're going to be pushed back one, right? So it exposes your middle unit. They swap places. The one that you're trying to protect is now exposed. And then on top of that, he can't deal any physical damage. No action that deals physical damage can be done while you are feared.
Oh.
So that is even if you don't get feared in a match, this is still extremely important to have, specifically because you don't want to be affected by fear. This completely disrupts any kind of flow or setup you're going to be doing to your game.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, and on this sheet, you basically, this is all straight from Workhorse, except your ratings, obviously, and then on the far left-hand side, and then on the far right-hand side is your kind of comments in here that you put in. So you kind of already have what you're saying right now in here to read through.
Right. Yeah. I just wanted to lay this out. So this is my my air quote professional opinion on what these are going to do and how big of an impact they're going to have when they do it.
Okay. And so then with clear vision, B5,
Mm-hmm.
40% chance not to be affected by blind. What
Yeah.
is that? What's going on there?
That's also super important, but it's more important on damage dealers.
Okay.
So the way damage works, and we got this confirmed by Hubert last night. Sorry, Hubert, if I'm calling you out and you're not enjoying it. But basically, the attack is going to go through 2 separate rolls, right? So it goes through an accuracy check first. When I declare a target for my attack, it goes through my accuracy versus the target's evasion, right? If it doesn't go through the evasion, the attack misses, right? So there's that check. But if it does go through evasion, the attack then is considered a hit and goes through a block check, where if you block the attack, it reduces the damage to 0.
Yes.
So if you don't block it, you take the damage, you take the status effect. It hasn't been confirmed whether or not you take the status effect if you block still. I would assume you do, since you get hit. It might, even though you get rid of the damage, you might still take the effect. But if you miss your attack, you 100% you miss the damage and you miss the status effect.
This status effect. And what are potential possibilities for a status effect?
So status effect is everything you see right here, from basic 3 to basic 8 in the passives.
Okay.
This is what they're all trying to avoid.
Okay.
Right.
As being feared, for example, you might not take the damage, but you might get feared.
Right. So
Okay.
yeah, you may be able to block the damage, but if you get feared, that's still a huge disruption to your team formation.
Yeah.
Because now your tank goes further back, it exposes your less defensive units, and your tank can't deal any damage now.
Got it. Yeah. Okay. And real quick, I meant to ask you this at the beginning. So when you say this is the only thing you're good at, or whatever you said you're funny. What do you mean? So what is your background with these kind of games? Would you say what makes you kind of an expert in this realm? Would you say?
I have been playing these kinds of games literally since I was 4 years old. I couldn't read when I got like the first Pokemon game. I think I was like 4 years old. My parents got me the Japanese green version of Pokemon. And like I couldn't read anyway, so I couldn't read the Japanese, and it didn't really matter. So I started playing then, and I have been absolutely hooked on these kind of strategy games forever. And
Okay.
I've played a couple of them competitively for a long time. So
Magic the Gathering, one of them.
I did play Magic the Gathering. That was a fun game. Tons of complication. A spreadsheet like this would not be able to handle that.
Okay. Wow. See, this game could get that complex as
Oh,
well.
100%.
To
Especially when
organize this, when everything like pets and all these different things,
oh yeah.
you got weapons coming out, all these different things that come out, you're gonna have your hands full.
Oh yeah, I plan on updating it the whole way through. As soon as
Wow.
all of the classes are announced, I'm going to try and do something along the lines of like a tier list for subclasses for every single class.
Yeah.
Like which ones synergize best, right?
With other heroes potentially, because some might be better for others than
Right.
others.
And in what situation? Like what are you trying to build? Right? Like a paladin, for example, has a lot of different avenues it can go. It can be a frontline tank. It can be a physical damage dealer. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of different things you could do with it.
That is awesome. Okay, so headstrong. B4, headstrong. What's going on here? Days.
Okay, days resistant. This actually, while I'm looking at it, I might be changing this depending on um how popular this is. I think every single class so far has had a days effect, but days effectively is it's a targeted ability. It interrupts, which means it stops all channeling, and then it moves whatever turn order you are. It moves the target to the end of the turn order.
Interesting. Okay. Target's turn is moved. So do you think you might raise it up from a B or make it
Yeah, I'm probably going to raise this up from a B, probably to an A,
okay?
because probably to an A or even an S, because this is usable on everybody, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
days. I think I put this rating in here as a B specifically because I thought channeling was going to be like magic users only, but
Okay.
as we see with the archer, that's not the case.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. Now here's Rubito saying no status effects if an attack is blocked or evaded. What
Oh, no status on both, huh?
are we sure about that? I don't know if we've how sure are we about that, Rubito? Interesting. Okay. I don't know if Hubert hit on that, did he?
I know he hit on it with evasion, but we didn't get confirmation. At least I didn't see any
Block.
confirmation from
Yeah,
block.
because we were thinking yesterday, we were talking about that maybe block. Uh huh.
And
Won't
there's no answer to block at the moment either. That's another thing we confirmed, where you can raise the individual hero's accuracy versus somebody's evasion rating. There's nothing you can do to diminish the block chance of another hero,
okay. Yeah.
at least at
Yeah.
the moment.
There's nothing that we've seen. That's right. Okay. So then foresight B3 you have as an S.
Yes, because that's good all the time. Anyone who's receiving an attack, there's an 8% chance that they're not gonna.
Yeah. And again,
So
we're on the passives here, right? These are
yeah,
all
these are the basic passives too.
yes.
So the cool thing about this is it adds towards action economy, which all my D&D buddies will know. Action economy is king, and it typically states that the side that takes the most turns and uses them effectively typically wins.
Okay, right.
So if they proc my 8% chance on evasion from foresight and miss, that means that I'm 1 turn plus because they just wasted 1 turn on something that I got for free.
Yeah.
So I'm 1 turn ahead of them now.
Right. Interesting. Wow. Skiller saying Wowee is a legend. I agree. Mookie is in the house. Okay. Okay. Yeah. I need a PvP spreadsheet for dummies. That's kind of what we're doing now. We're kind of breaking it down, right? Where we're going to go through a lot of this.
The definitive how to use the spreadsheet.
Okay. So Rubito just said, Hubert said your attack has to hit. Then there's a status effect roll.
Right. So status effect chance will go through a status effect resistance as well. So we don't know if that's going. So it's considered a hit, right? If it goes through evasion, right? If your accuracy checks out and it goes through evasion, it is now considered a hit for all intents and purposes. However, even if it's considered a hit, it still has to go against your block chance, and the damage is reduced to 0. But nothing has been stated so far if the block stops the status effect or not.
Yeah.
And then effect resistance would be that, right? So it could be like a two-pronged kind of deal where block can reduce the damage and effect resistance can reduce, the application of the status effect.
Okay. That makes sense. And so guys that have the higher block chances will be like a legionnaire.
Oh, yeah.
He's got a shield. Does a knight have a shield?
Yeah, so he doesn't have a shield while we're looking at the character NFT card, but in all of the alpha that they've released where they show like little abilities being used, there's a shield on their back.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm thinking that a shield is actually something equipable for a knight.
Mm-hmm. Okay, there we go. That makes sense. Okay, and so Hubert's answer regarding checks is pinned in PvP. What does he mean by checks? Constantin. Checks. Did he mean like blocks?
So this is what he says. The correct order would be evasion, block, critical chance in terms of the rolls. Then if the attack had the potential status effects, there would be a roll to see if added, and if so, a resistance check as well.
Okay.
That's pretty deep.
Yeah, that is. That's so cool. I'm new to all this. This is all new to me. So cool.
There's going to be a lot of layers, but I swear, as soon as the game actually comes out and we're able to get our hands on it, it's going to come so much more naturally, and everything's going to make a lot more sense.
Yes, it will. Once we're playing. And okay. And so clutch at B2, you have as a B rating because that only comes into play when you're low on health, below 30%.
Right. So instead of, so for example, right next to it, right, the foresight that we just talked about, here's the real big difference between the two and between the two ratings. Foresight is used all the time. If you're receiving an attack, you are using foresight and you're gaining value from it, right, at all times. For clutch, you do gain value from it, but only once you meet the criteria, which is you must be below 30% health.
Okay, right.
So that means 70% of your HP pool, you are not receiving the benefit from this.
Yeah, and your rating is solely based on that. Based on
the individual ability by itself. However, this does gain rating if paired with other things properly.
Right. So clutch, like to your higher HP guys, especially, that will be alive a little bit longer once you're down below 30% health, might be a tiny bit better than if it's on a lower health HP like a wizard or something. But with that being said, I feel like clutch is pretty dope. So it's interesting. To recap on the ratings, the only reason why it's a B is because you can't use it all the time. And the only reason why foresight is an S is because it's automatically active all the time.
Right.
But it doesn't necessarily make, as far as the end game effectiveness of the trait, it's not necessarily better than clutch, because clutch in the end might even be better than foresight in some circumstances. You're just saying the rating is solely based on if it's usable all the time versus not usable as often.
Right. So how many people can use it, right? So how many
Mhm.
different heroes gain use from it?
Okay.
Like a priest, right? If let's just say I've got a priest that's completely and utterly made to be a healer and support unit, I went into almost no damaging abilities whatsoever.
Oh man, that's not
Clutch
good
would
for Clutch.
be right. Clutch would not gain anywhere near as much value because I might go below 30% health, right? And that 30%
Mhm.
extra damage ain't going to do that much.
And you're never going to
Plus,
deal damage as a priest much.
plus, I could just heal myself out of that threshold,
Yeah.
and then it's gone again.
So Clutch is especially, and this is something where, like in Rock's case, that's probably not going to change. Now, these
No,
percentages or something could change, but as far as the overall,
but
you
on
can almost take it
specific,
to the bank that Clutch on a priest, no bueno.
yeah, in most cases, I mean, I'm sure there's going to be a way to build like a high damage priest. You know,
Okay.
I'm sure that's going to exist.
Mhm.
But I can tell you right now, on a berserker, specifically a boar zerker,
Mhm.
this is insanely good.
Yeah. Gosh. All your big damage dealing and also big health guys,
Mm-hmm.
that's going to become potentially one of the better, I feel like one of the better traits for those guys.
Oh yeah, big
Like
time. Because
Clutch.
specifically the berserker plays with low health. Like that's
Yeah.
what a lot of their abilities remove their HP to deal more damage to somebody else. Or they have a ramping effect where they just keep taking more and more and more damage to
Mhm.
deal more damage. So, I mean, something like this would pair extremely well with them,
Yeah.
especially if it's a berserker and gets the capstone ultimate ability.
Yeah. Okay. You know what's so interesting with Duelist versus Clutch? I feel like, yeah, I mean, Clutch is way better than Duelist because look, you're only gaining 20 bonus damage versus 30
Right. So the trade off here
bonus
is you can
damage.
get 20% bonus damage on something that's got full health, but
Yeah.
it has to be a 1v1. So if they've
Okay.
got Resurrect on the other team, or even if you use Resurrect, right, a transcendent ability
Mm-hmm.
or a transcendent trait,
Mm-hmm.
you now no longer get Duelist.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's just less useful most of the time.
Right. Now it still can be awesome, but yeah,
Excuse
you
me.
could have full health in that scenario. Because a lot of times your backline guy might come in, be the last guy standing with full health. That does happen a lot, like in fight.
Right.
Okay.
Not
Interesting.
to say they're not good, together, right? Duelist and Clutch. If
Right.
it comes down to the wire at the very end, I'm
Those two.
1v1 and I'm slowly getting my health chipped away at, to the end of the game. Now I become a monster.
Yeah. And that's Duelist is another one not great for priests, probably.
It depends if you built a damage priest or if you built a priest that's primarily support but has a
Mhm.
damage option. Like say you
Yeah.
got a priest sage, right? And the sage has just got this big, huge AoE explosion
Yeah.
type move, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you got duelist clutch on your priest and it's gonna die, this thing is gonna make it do 50% more damage.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting. Man. So right here, Rubito is talking about some different mode builds. He's saying with Clutch, Giant Slayer, and Giant Killer, there could be some fun
Oh
hybrid
yeah.
builds.
There is some insane, like just from what we've got out already, just with these three classes, there is some insane damage bonus stacking that can come from these things.
Okay. Yeah, give a few examples.
All right, so exactly like what Rubetto is saying,
Yeah.
if I'm 1v1, right now, we'll do the biggest damage I could possibly think of, right?
Okay.
So that'll be Giant Killer. Obviously, double Giant Killer would be better, but let's say we just got one. We got the Giant Killer. We've
So
got the
Giant
Clutch
Slayer,
activated.
is that Giant
Giant
Slayer?
Slayer. Giant
Okay.
Slayer. Yeah.
That's
Giant
E1
Slayer,
for passive. Okay.
and we've got Clutch, right? So this is this is fairly obtainable, right? It's one elite skill and one basic skill, right, or a trait.
Yeah.
So if they've got more health than me, which they probably would if I'm at 30% HP or lower, this right here is already a 60% damage boost, right?
Yeah.
And then on top of that, if I've got an archer subclass, right? It doesn't even matter what I got. If I've got an archer subclass, I have access to giant killer, which is if the target enemy possesses greater HP than your hero, you deal 100% bonus attack damage. So now you're at 160% damage buff.
Okay. But that is
just for being lower health.
okay.
So something like this is a red flag, right? If, say you start the game and you see that, you know, they've got this combo going on.
Yeah.
That's more of a threat in the end game, in the late game, than it is in the early game, right? So that might be I focus all of my units on that one instead of how I would normally play the game, because that's going to be such a problem down the road.
It's interesting. So if you have an E1 passive trait ability, then you're only going to want to be targeting heroes that have greater HP than you.
Right. So the wording on this one doesn't mean like like HP percentage, right? Because if they did mean that, they probably would have put it in there. So this probably is going against a total HP number.
Yeah.
So if you've got, say, your archer, right? Because they don't really have good HP progression. I think they're kind of middle of the road or middle low. This makes them useful right out the gate immediately.
Yeah.
They have less total health than everybody on the other side, most likely.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, because you even start out with less health. Yeah. Huh. And that, you know what? Like a wizard that starts out with low HP, having a giant slayer, dealing out some wizardry damage.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then what is a monster? Like what?
So that's indicating PvE, right? Oh. So in the little examples that we've been getting with the little videos that are showing the use of the skill, a monster is one of those blubs.
Yeah. Okay.
So this is going to be useful even in PvE content as well. Not so much as PvP, but all this does is ramp up everything. And most likely, you're, especially against a boss, you're going to have this activated almost the entire time.
Wow. Okay. So, man, that is so cool. So, and then we got last stand is E2 for the passive trait. When this hero health drops below 20%, become invulnerable for 1 round. So you just can't get hurt.
Yeah, so there's nothing that has been released about the invulnerable status. They haven't said anything about it, but my assumption is yes, 100% you can't take damage. This may also include status effects as well.
Yeah, seems like it.
Invulnerable. So you basically like untouchable, right? The only reason why this isn't triple S, like a god tier ability, is specifically because of the language used. When this hero drops below 20% health, right? It doesn't stop you from being dropped below 20% health. It's when you drop below 20% health.
So if you're at 21% health, you could die.
Right. You can get one shot and that won't even pop off.
Okay.
This is much better on, you know, higher defensive units that will more likely be dropped down below 20% rather than, you know, killed from 21% down.
Yeah. So maybe if that was buffed up to 25% or 30%, might be a little better.
It might be. It might be a little bit too good if that's the case, though. Which
just
I think
for 1 round.
Huh. Yeah. It's just it's the ripcord, you know what I mean? It's the inflatable safety vest just for one round.
Yeah, wow. Okay, so we got La Libellula. I love it. So they think duelist B1 should be more valued in his opinion. On a paladin or a knight is very, very strong. This study is cool, but every class should have its ratings. Interesting.
So it will in the
Yeah.
future, right? Like I said before, these ratings are specifically based on the
Entire
individual ability by
by
itself.
itself.
Now,
Yes.
if this is paired up with a paladin or a knight
Okay.
or a dark knight or a dread knight or someone else that's more defensive and can last to the very end, or is more
Yeah.
likely to last to the very end, that gains more value.
Do you
But
think Okay, do you think you could do something like the same sheet, but then on each hero, specific hero, and rate each ability or trait on each hero?
yes, so that was actually the plan going
Okay.
forward. Once we got more of the classes out, I was
Yeah.
going to go ahead and go back and
Wow.
do my recommended uh, passives and actives that go really, really, really well together with that hero.
Okay. That's awesome.
This is not definitive by any means. This
Right.
is a fluid
This
document
is
and will keep.
early
Yeah.
stages. We're just getting an idea. A lot of this is going to change, but a lot of it won't change, and it's good to be ahead of the game. I think really good.
Oh yeah.
So I would get left in the dust if I didn't really dive into this with you.
And I
Okay.
mean, that's the whole point to making this too. I wanted to
Mhm.
make sure the community has no excuse to be bad at the game or to be
Yeah.
confused at all. This is for everyone and will be for everyone to get good.
Yes. It's so cool. Okay. So then Second Life, would you say is the best trait to anybody could have of all the traits?
I want to I hesitate to say that because I don't want the market to just absolutely go insane on anyone with Second Life.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, based off of what I've seen before,
Mhm.
that is by far the best trait you could possibly have on literally anyone, period, in the story. And it gets insanely more overpowered if you got another one.
Oh, yeah, a double Second Life?
Yep.
Oh,
They
wow.
specifically put that language in there, can only occur once per battle per
Per
gene.
gene, yeah. I mean, to get a double transcendent,
And having to
that'll
have to kill something 3 times is
oh, man.
insane. And if it's on a defensive unit, it gains even more value because you get the exhausted status effect when it activates, right? But
Oh my
exhaust doesn't do anything to a defensive unit. If their job is to take hits, they're gonna. They
yeah.
can. Exhaust doesn't stop them from doing that. And it's cleansable.
So we don't have any double transcend or double exalted yet, do we?
I haven't seen one.
I don't think we have any of those. I'm sure Mosh can pipe up here. Yeah, 2x speed. That's awesome. Raph, baby. Sir Jewel Staker. So Eden, ETTAN. That is awesome to hear, man. 100 of them are over level 9. I have no idea which one will be good. I'm with you, man. I got 1700. It's like, oh, it's like it's a shit show for me. It'll be hard to organize. That's why it's tempting to sell in bulk, or I just don't. I'm still trying to figure out. I was thinking of doing dark summoning them way down, trimming down my heroes a lot. I don't know. I don't know. I'm still trying to make up my mind. Okay. So that is super cool. All right. Now let's stick with passives and finish up here. We'll hit the advanced, but I don't think we've hit on Chatterbox. Oh, yeah, we did. So Chatterbox, 40% chance not to be affected by silence. And when you're silenced, you can't deal magical damage. So if it's a wizard, okay, or heal or a magical ability for 2 rounds. Wizard, priest, Any magic using hero, this would be an A.
Well, it specifically. Oh wait, yeah, no, it does
Or
say
an
here.
S.
Yeah.
But if it's not a magic using hero, it's a D.
Yep.
Yeah, basically. And so
Yeah.
that's the only reason why it's a B, just so you guys understand this. It could be an S even for a magic using hero.
Especially if you've got two. If you've got two chatterboxes, and this is just basic abilities that are super, super, super easy to get, right? If you've got a sage with double chatterbox, things never getting silenced and will never be stopped from doing what it's doing.
Oh man. Yeah, that's so that's an SSS double.
Oh yeah.
On
Yeah,
a
lot of
stage.
these a lot of these in their own situations
Mhm.
are extremely highly rated. But
Mhm.
because you can't guarantee you're going to be affected by a daze all the time, you know what I mean? It's lower rated. You can't guarantee you're going to be affected by a blind. You can't guarantee you're going to be affected by silence.
Yeah.
The only thing that these really do is deter wasting the turn to try and apply that status effect
Yeah.
to this character. So it's just a deterrent rather than an immediate numerical value added.
Mhm. Right. That
Which
makes
is
sense.
why, if we're going to be moving on to the advanced passives,
Mhm.
there's a reason why leadership is rated SSS along with the exalted ability.
Oh. Okay. So yeah, we'll get to leadership next. Stalwart.
Stalwart's gonna be really interesting. It's so depending on how prevalent poison is, this will gain or lose rating, right?
Okay, yeah.
If the only sources of poison out there are poison blade and toxic, then this becomes absolute garbage, right? But if say thieves, ninjas,
Uh-huh.
say they've all got poison abilities, right? Or they're trying to accumulate poison stacks all the time, then this will be really good.
Yeah. So just physical damage. So you're just okay. So over here it says deal damage. So physical damage that accelerates over time.
Yeah, so I put the so it's not affected by poison, and in the middle I put what the poison status does.
Hmm.
So it's a 40% chance not to be affected by the stuff in the middle.
Oh. And then on this side, if they are affected by poison,
Right.
or
If they are affected by poison, this is what happens to them.
to yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you
Yeah, if you get affected by
or
poison,
you mean if the other team is affected by poison, it does this additional thing, which is it deals extra 2% damage?
no. Okay, so the
Okay.
40% chance not to be affected by poison. You'll say we have that on, our tank in the front line. We have it on our knight.
Yeah.
Um, you say they've got a thief in their back line that has just a ton of poison moves, right? They got
Yeah.
poison blade, they got toxic, they've got poison attacks of some kind. Um, this will help to never ever ever be affected by that poison. But if I do get affected by that poison, if our knight does get affected by the poison, this is in the middle is what happens when you have the poison status effect.
Okay.
So it'll deal 2% of the hero's maximum HP at the beginning of each round, not their turn, at the beginning of each round instead. And
Mhm.
each round it persists, each round that it doesn't get cleansed off,
Mm.
the damage stacks an additional 2% per round up to a maximum of 20%.
Okay, so that's just what poison does. Is that what you're
Right.
saying? Oh, I see. I get it. Okay, I thought this was something in addition.
Oh yeah, no, no, no.
Okay.
This just helps you not get affected by that.
Okay, so this that's happening here, you got a 40% reduced chance to not have that happen.
Right.
Okay, I get it. Got it. So the reason why that's a B is that you're not sure how frequent poison will be used at all.
Correct. Yeah.
If they
So
don't have a thief or a ninja and there's nobody that has any poison on the other team, then that trait is useless.
Yeah, no, 100%. But
Mm-hmm.
I feel that there's going to be certain, so as the game evolves, right, there's
Mm-hmm.
going to be certain brackets or certain MMRs, which is a ranking,
Mm-hmm.
certain levels of the matchmaking is probably going to be more heavily leaning towards some of these status effects.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
So in the
Let's
very beginning, you might see a lot of poison, right? You
right.
might see poison everywhere. But then as you get, higher and higher into like the mid tiers of
Mm-hmm.
matchmaking, you might start to see a lot more silences. Now chatterbox is more important,
Yeah.
right? And
Okay.
stalwart falls out, right? And then you go to
Yeah.
the higher tiers, and now nobody's using any of that. All they're doing is going for the days. And
Yeah.
now that's going to be really important, but only in that bracket.
Okay.
Which is why I didn't want to try and rate these things based on every conceivable
Mm-hmm.
situation.
Right. Okay. Okay. So then, all right, catching up real quick here on the chat. Shout out to Con Joiner. Love you. Love you, man. Okay. So, and Rock and Mosh are going to connect. I love it. Okay. Skiller, question. If you're playing 3 versus 3 and your last hero standing has second life, wouldn't it be better to have Resurrection to bring back another hero rather than take on the fight with one hero? I guess that
Okay. Yeah, that's a
we'll
good
hit
point.
on Resurrection here in a second. Um, what do you think, just based off that question, though?
So in this scenario, Resurrect is really good because of the value it applies, right? If
Mm-hmm.
you're threes and you've got one hero standing, you immediately gain more value from having two heroes on the field rather than
Right,
just one for a longer period of
right.
time,
But if
right?
the hero that has Resurrection dies first, you're screwed. Not even used.
Right. But say you've got Second Life and Giant Slayer.
Yeah.
So I'm down to my 30%. I'm getting all this bonus damage. I could turn the tide, right? I'm getting close or I'm getting closer and I die. Well, Second Life procs. I'm
Boom.
back up to 50%. I can't do anything for my next turn because I'm exhausted. I'm going to take some hits. Now I'm back below 30%. Now I can get the lawnmower going again.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
So
Beautiful.
they're both extremely good in their own situational occurrences, but for all intents and purposes, Second Life is specifically more powerful because you get it for free. It automatically casts for free without you using a turn whatsoever.
Right. And so that's why you put that as a better rating down here, Second Life, than you do Resurrection, which is the active exalted or transcendent ability.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it costs a turn
Mm-hmm.
to resurrect. And
Yeah.
if your resurrect user dies, you don't even get to use it.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. So you got to be careful not to have that guy on the front line. the
Right.
okay. Okay. Um, yeah, everyone's saying you're a celebrity in the community now. You're famous. You're DFK famous. He says we're not worthy of Wowee,
Oh
baby.
my gosh.
Larry Binance Jr. back in the house. Yeah, maybe Dark Knight a poison move too. That's possible. Dark Knight could have a poison move.
I think Dark Knight's going to be really interesting,
Yeah.
right? What they've done with every single class so far is they take the general idea and then they split it into three branching themes, basically. And
Yeah.
each theme is like you could tell they put so much work into making sure everything was as on brand for the high fantasy of that class as possible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I am a big Dark Knight guy.
Oh yeah, Dark Knight I think is going
Especially
to be really really cool.
he is really OP in Fight Club. Maybe the best hero almost in
Oh really?
all of
Like
Fight Club.
I actually have not played any Fight Club. I've been observing it from afar. I'm really interested to get started.
Hey, since you got all day and all night until Fight Cats tonight, baby, let's do some Fight Club after this. Yeah,
Yeah, sure. I'll give it a
in
shot.
1 hour, dude, I'll get you right up to speed. Especially you, probably 1 hour, you would be right there. And then you're going to be hooked. I'm telling you, like big brain guys that like this kind of thing. guys like Sandwich Punch, he just got into it for like one day, and then all of a sudden he's like a Fight Club guru now.
Oh boy.
Yes. Okay. 3 wolves in the house. Get your poison axolotls ready. I still don't have a poison axolotl. I want one. Okay. All right. Larry, Binance. I think the high intelligence growth on Dark Knights is super interesting. Totally agree. So I love the Dark Knight foragers pounding that intelligence.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So fun. All right. Now we're on to OP leadership here. Tell me more.
Leadership is probably my favorite passive that's achievable.
Mm-hmm. It's not a transcendent or a exalted.
Right. It's not transcendent or exalted. It is 100% achievable. You know, it's not that insane to imagine getting an advanced one on your passives here.
Yeah.
And this thing is so good, right? It seems so minuscule when you read what it does, right? Allies deal 5% bonus damage, right? That's okay. That's whatever. This bonus cannot exceed 15% team wide. That means you get 5% per leadership on your team, stacking up to 15%. And now this isn't just a little teeny tiny amount, right? If you've got a full team of damage dealers, which is going to be plenty popular, not only are you just getting a bonus 15%, you're getting bonus 15% on every single instance of damage that you deal in perpetuity. From the very beginning until the very end, you are going to have this bonus no matter what.
Yeah.
It's crazy good.
And so that could potentially be each of your 3 heroes get 5% bonus damage.
Yep. So, or you can have a double leadership on one person and 1 leadership on another, which frees up 2 passive slots for somebody else.
Yeah. So if you've got a double leadership, that means your 2 allies on your team the whole time are going to be dealing 10% each or 7.5% each.
Yeah, all of them. It's 15% each. Each. Yeah. So not just 15% increase in damage, it's 15% over 3 different instances.
So each hero could potentially have 15%.
Right. So say
bonus damage just the whole freaking game.
The whole game for free, just for having this passive with no condition at all. I don't need to have lower HP. I don't need to go to 30% HP. I don't need to be the last one remaining. It is a free 15% extra bonus damage forever for free just because I got it.
Okay.
So if you just got the 1, it's not good.
Okay.
You need the 3.
Okay. It's not good. Well, I mean, it's still good, even if just one of your heroes has it. But let's just say one of your heroes has it, and then he dies. That goes away then, right?
That is my assumption, is that leadership goes away if the hero dies.
Yeah.
But that may not be the case. It may just, as soon as the game starts, they may just apply the leaderships, and that's just a permanent buff. If that's the case, this is even better.
That's even better.
Yeah. So this rating is taking leadership into consideration of it falls off if something dies.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So then efficient, you only have ranked as a C.
Yeah. Efficient is a little strange. Reduce mana consumption by 10%. It's probably going to be it's probably going to shine a lot harder in PvE content than it will in PvP content. And I mean, the remarks I have on it specifically garner towards we just don't know what mana usage is going to look like yet.
Right.
You know, if abilities are costing 10, 20 mana, right, per ability use,
or the skills like the heroes. Yeah.
If it only costs like 10 or 20 mana, you're only saving 1 or 2 mana in the short term, right? It ain't worth it.
Yeah, but that's like for the whole time.
Right. Say over the entirety of like a 15 round fight, I somehow managed to scrounge enough for 1 more extra ability. right?
Oh,
It only gains rating the longer you go.
yeah. But that could be
It
really,
could be
really
really good. It could be extremely good, right? Because we were talking about action economy earlier,
hmm
right? Both sides using a bunch of turns and it's coming to this super long, drawn out war of attrition.
hmm
Having one more ability to use over the other might
Yeah,
actually be the giant benefit you need.
right. Or some of those skills might not cost a full, mana bar or something.
True. Yeah. I mean, if you're looking at cases where like I've got my regular skills that cost 10 or 20 mana, and I've got this gigantic ultimate skill that costs 80 mana,
Yeah,
now this is worth it.
yeah, that becomes potentially pretty OP,
Right.
especially that on a hero that doesn't have much mana.
Yeah.
Okay, then you need to like save up your mana as much as possible, like for your paladins or your like pirates, warriors, knights.
Right. Yeah. So this will.
Efficient is really good for your pirates, warriors, knights, potentially.
So yes, 100%, because this is definitely going to have its rating changed, right? As soon as we get more information regarding the use of mana, it's going to be completely revisited.
Yeah. Yeah. And the answer, Mosh, to this for Mosh, right? With what goes best with leadership are heroes with high damage, right? Would you say?
Oh yeah, since this is
High
just a damage
damage
boost.
dealing damage
The,
dealers.
so the thing that goes best with leadership is more leadership, right? But then you get things like intimidation or toxic, right? You want to
Uh-huh.
stack as much damage as humanly possible. Period.
Yeah.
End of story. So if you've got leadership, giant slayer, clutch, duelist, and all of these are active, leadership just becomes even better. Because
Yeah.
even if you say for instance they both got clutch, right, and we're
Mhm.
both below 30% HP, we're both dealing 30% more damage. If I've got leadership, I'm dealing a little bit more.
Oh gosh, dang. Yeah, clutch with leadership. Ooh.
Yeah, that'll be great. And any of the actives really that deal damage are great
Yeah.
with leadership, especially Deathmark and critical aim are absolutely bonkers. Like if
Oh
you've got
yeah.
basic 7, basic 8 on any hero that deals damage,
Right.
it's
So
fantastic.
there's a pretty decent chance he might look at this and nerf it and
Yeah.
change it like to 2% or 3%. You think?
I actually think leadership on this board is probably one of the more future-proof traits that they've put out here, right?
Oh,
Because
you don't think they'll change it?
I don't think they're going to change this at all. I think it's completely future-proof because it's a nice little bonus for
Mhm.
free, right? And you have to sacrifice using your whole team's passive slots, right? This costs 3 passive slots in order to gain its maximum value. Right?
Mhm.
Its maximum value is really good, but that's something I could use with Second Life. That's something I could have Last Stand on. That's something I could have, another
Yeah.
ability with. Um,
Wow,
so
dude.
this gains its value immediately in the very beginning. This is so much better on fast, hard hitting damage teams.
Yeah. Wow.
If you're looking to win the game in 3 to 4 turns, this is the stuff you want.
Yeah. So conjoiner or conjurer. I used to probably always call him conjurer, but I realized it's like conjoiner or something. Okay. Real quick, we'll come back to efficient, but intimidation. He's saying leadership combined with intimidation
hmm
is
Yeah.
going to make him have the evil. Ha 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 ha
Oh
ha.
yeah, it's a fantastic combo. It's a
Yeah.
great combo. They're essentially the exact same thing, and the only
Mhm.
reason why I deem intimidation just a hair lower than leadership
Okay.
is because you always want to prioritize in these kinds of games. This is my experience coming out with these games. You
Okay.
always want to prioritize working off your own buffs rather than working off debuffs of another team.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
It's still
But
incredible.
man,
It's still
if you had
great.
all three of your heroes both having leadership combined with intimidation.
Oh yeah, it's fantastic.
Yes. Okay, efficient is good for dreads.
Oh, I would imagine.
Okay. Okay. Deathmark with leadership is nice. What was Deathmark? Is that on an active?
Yeah, that's on the active list.
Okay.
Death Mark is it's a damaging ability that puts a 20% damage debuff on the target, right?
Okay, we'll come back to it. We'll
All
come
right,
back.
cool.
All right. And then so intimidation is just like leadership, but you have leadership slightly better than intimidation because you think it's better to deal the damage because you can predict it better and things than it is to prevent them from dealing damage.
Right. There's a less
Just
guesswork involved.
less guesswork. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. And then 4, we've kind of hit on this. You have it real low. Didn't you used to have this as like a D?
I had as an F.
As
I
an
had this straight F. I was not sold on Toxic whatsoever. I'm only slightly sold on it right now because I believe the first stream with you and Ogre going over the spreadsheet and talking about it's an F. I remember Workhorse was in there
Oh yeah.
and he confirmed some stuff for me.
Okay.
Which is why Toxic got such a big text box in my remark.
Hey, what were those confirmations you needed from Workhorse?
So the confirmations were the multi-hit abilities. How common are they going to be, right? And as we see with the Archer, extremely common. You can build multi-hits, a ton of multi-hits.
You might have a round with like what 10 hits or something.
Right. Yeah. And each time you have more chances to apply Toxic, the better it is.
Okay.
Right. You only need it to work one time on a target.
Yeah.
That's it. You just need it to work one time on a target and you're gold. You're good to go for the rest of the game unless they cleanse it, right? So
and because when poison is applied, this is what happens. That's what you have next to it.
Right.
If poison is applied, and that's what he also has the same thing up above. So physical damage that accelerates over time, deal damage equal to 2% of hero's max HP at the time at the beginning of each round. So before any skills are used or anything.
Right. Boom. They don't even have to take a turn. It's at the top of the round.
Yeah. Okay. Each round it persists, it stacks to an additional 2% up until 20%.
Yeah. And you're instantly gaining value from this, right? Yeah. It takes 10 turns to get all the way to the 20%. Yeah. But I mean, you're still ramping your way up there.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is going to be particularly better for the heroes that have multiple points of hitting within a round.
Yeah. So if you have more multi-hit attacks or AoE attacks, which is area of effect, those kind of attacks hit everybody, right? Then that gains value. This specifically gained rating because Workhorse confirmed that an instance of damage includes burn and bleed ticks.
Okay.
So if you've got let's see, probably a warrior is going to have some sort of a bleed move, some sort of rend.
Bleed move.
So bleed and burn effects are what's called dots, right? Effectively, they're called dots, which means damage over time.
Oh, right.
So it's most likely going to do not exactly what poison does, but it's going to be similar, right? At the start of the round or the start of their turn or at the end of the round, they're going to take damage, right? And if the source of that damage is someone with Toxic, that counts as another damaging instance.
And so wow. Yeah, I'm so glad I play Fight Club because I at least understand the conceptually. Like Fight Club has a lot of these different things too. Poison's a little different in Fight Club, but like the burn at the end of each round, boom, you get hit.
Yeah.
If you're
and then that's another 2% chance, right? And if you've got double Toxic, well, now this is a really scary combo.
Okay. Wow. So Toxic might be moving up the ranks, but still, I do feel like I agree. 2% chance is such a low chance.
It is a low chance, and honestly, it's held back because of its low chance.
Yeah.
But I believe the devs are very aware at the
Mhm.
power that this has. You know,
Yeah.
it's teetering the line. It's walking a tightrope
Yeah.
between way too good
Way over buffed. Yeah.
and completely useless.
Yeah. So like 3% could tip that over.
Right. 3% can completely and utterly make it broken. You know, we don't really know because we just haven't played yet.
Yeah.
But
Wow.
there's a reason why they're scared of this.
Oh
I mean,
wow. Yeah. So Giacomach, baby, in the house. He's one of my favorite dudes in the world. I love this guy. So and this is where Rock comes in and says, well, slow down there. Slow down because a lot of this could change or be
oh yeah,
buffed or nerfed.
take
So
this all with a grain of
take
salt.
it with a grain of salt,
This is all
But
speculative. This is all my guesses.
yeah.
Truly, this is what it is me guessing my hardest.
Yeah, we got to get Workhorse. So, man, and maybe I'll try and set up a video with the three of us, get Workhorse on.
I would love that. I feel like
Yeah.
Workhorse doesn't want to touch me with a 10-foot pole right now. Because he
Yeah.
knows he can't release alpha,
Right.
not beyond what's already been released, and
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be able to help myself. I'm too curious.
Uh-huh. So we could do some ground rules ahead of time to make him
Yeah.
please where he would feel comfortable to do that. That would be cool.
Oh
We
yeah,
got comments flowing in, baby. I think leadership, intimidation, still worth it, even if only 2 heroes have it and gets 10, or even if 1 hero. I mean, it's still
yeah. It's exponential, right?
yeah.
So if one hero has like leadership,
Mhm.
it's okay. It's
It's
fine.
just okay, right? It's a
There's
nice
better
bonus.
options,
Right.
but if there's 2 leaderships out there, now it's just exponentially better.
Yeah.
It's just pure good forever. Now, if
But
both of those had intimidation, now it's way better.
yeah. But even if not, like there might be a different combo that still is awesome with that paired with,
Right. Yeah,
So
it all
even if
depends on
just
who
one
it's
guy
on.
has it, I still love it.
A lot of this game is going to come down to it's
Yeah.
only good if you know how to use it.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's going to be a lot of that going on. And what, as I was thinking too, what's so interesting about this is that with the bots going, okay, a lot of us use the bots now. Do you use the bot?
Yes, I own a waifu bot, and I
Okay,
love
see, I'm
her.
a waifu botter. Also, I'm trying out to help her like a lot of us are. I think I'm having Zellies on later today.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm very interested. I'd like to try out the other bots. I just don't have that crystal bankroll
Yeah.
rolling in.
Yeah. So yeah, Zelly's just confirmed to let him know when it's game time. He's coming on. Okay. So yeah, this is interesting. But I would say there's a decent chance Poison might get buffed. But you're right. When I was on with Ogre, like he was shocked that the community was dogging on Toxic because I think in Workhorse's mind it's really OP.
Right. Yeah, the
He
devs have been
knows.
warning against
He
this.
actually knows.
This is I feel Toxic has probably been the most in-house nerfed ability to date.
Mm-hmm.
They probably started off with like a 10% chance and they kept tapering it back further and further and further and further.
Yeah, it was probably the SSS, and now it's and so that's the thing, Chuck, because this could become an SS type.
Oh, immediately. It's
really
either bottom or top. That's
Okay.
all it is.
All right.
I do think there's a quick fix that they can implement with this as well.
Okay.
And rather than giving it the poison effect, it could take on something along the lines of its own special ability, right? Rather than apply poison, it can have something like apply toxin, right? You can give it a higher chance. You can give it a 15% chance. Each damage instance has a 15% chance to apply toxin, and a toxin could just be like a flat percentage, 4%, 3%, 5% health, and it ticks for over 3 turns.
Okay.
and it expires, right?
And it expires.
It'll put some more limitations on it, but
Uh-huh.
make it, a more of a usable passive.
Okay. Because it has a higher chance to hit, it's going to come into play
Right.
more.
Yeah, you're going to see it more often. The
Mhm.
thing that's holding this back right now is poison's just too dang good.
Okay, right. I see. So he just needs to potentially nerf the poison to make it more often
Right.
used.
Or just change it, right? Just
Change it.
apply a different type
Okay.
of debuff.
Okay. Okay. So anything else on the passive traits? Now we'll move on to active. Any other thoughts?
Well, with my closing thoughts here, I'll go ahead and say I think the attention paid to passives is going to pay out in the long run more than the attention paid to actives.
Okay. That's kind of why I started with the passives too. I know you had said that. So, and that's what at first we were on, like with Mythic Squad guys, like with Starbuck, we were thinking the passives were not as good as the actives, but it looks like they're at least going to probably be equal, or if not better.
So the way I look at it is you get the bonus from a passive all the time, the whole game, if the criteria is met, right? But most of them, you're getting the benefit the entire time. With actives, you get to cast it once per battle, and it gives you a lot of power in one round, in one turn,
Mm-hmm.
but not for the rest of it.
Yeah,
Actives are your strategy,
because
where
these
passives are your build.
didn't it say you can only use this once per game on
Yeah,
the actives? It
yeah.
can
So
only be used one time per game.
right. So
Period.
both your actives are going to be able to be used once.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. And so, how do you think pets will play into this?
I
Do you
have
have
been
any?
I have been wildly speculating with that. I
Okay.
think I mean there's the first option where it's just going to be they deal more damage or they give you damage reduction, right? Period, end of story. That might be what they're going to go with, or they might have randomized abilities or randomized traits rather, like what we have on our heroes to benefit in combat.
Yeah.
So like
Because
they might have like a
the poison
5% to strength.
axolotl, you know, you know,
It could very well give you an increased chance to poison,
yeah, yeah. Interesting.
or it can give you like a 5% to strength, or maybe 100 extra HP.
Right.
Just
On
they
these
could do
different,
probably anything.
like the odd pool pets. Do you think, yeah, they might be adding something extra? You
Yeah,
think maybe?
I'm pretty excited to see what they do because based off of what we've been given so far, I
Hmm.
feel like they'd be doing themselves a disservice
Yeah.
if they just went with, you do more or take less damage,
Right.
and
And
that's all
it's
it is
too
for combat
basic.
pet. Right.
Right.
They've been so creative up to this point. I
Hmm.
feel like they got to roll with it. They got to get the creation in there.
Okay. This is so cool. All right. All right. Anything else popping out here? Now we're going to move on to the active trait abilities genes. Okay. Just notice I have a toxic passive with poison blade. We're going to hit poison blade right now. That's first. Yeah. That's interesting. That is an interesting combo there, isn't it? Okay. Um, on an archer. Oh, really? We had a
Nice
pet
pet
rock.
rock.
Pet rock, man, that is rare. That's what, the fifth one in the game. I've been wanting a pet rock.
Oh my god, I've been wanting to hatch pets like absolute crazy, but the tier cost is
Oh
just
my goodness.
oh.
So we talk about that a lot on the show, where on the in-game market economy is probably one of my stronger suits. Uh, and I love doing it. And we saw the tiers coming, but then it just didn't come. And I was like, huh. Because I bought like 100,000 tiers like in August
I'm very jealous right
because
now.
they were nothing. And I ended up selling them off and stuff over time, way before they pumped. I mean, I think they had pumped a little bit, but and I used them up and sold them. So, but anyways, I think they've done since then, since I did that, because it was like, I remember it being like practically nothing to buy all the tiers. I was just blown away back then. And that it was the same day that Hubert came on an AMA and said that tier drop rates are dropped 1/5 to 20% of the drop rate.
Dang. I feel like that might be temporary. It might at least feel temporary.
Well,
because I think we're gonna see a bit of a this is just my guess, right? Total
yeah,
speculation. I think we're going to see an increase in drop rate, the higher level profession quests.
right. And he said that. I mean, they said that in an AMA. Hubert said profession 10 level quests will have a higher drop rate.
Awesome. Okay,
Yeah,
yeah, cool.
he
I just
straight up
wanted to
said
see
that. And so, but with that being said, you're going to want to be using pets. And so when the green eggs come, hatching all those pets,
It's gonna be crazy.
it's going to be nuts with tiers. I still think they could go up to like 10 cents or something.
Oh my gosh. All right.
Yeah.
I gotta start stockpiling.
I don't know, man. It's like
I got like maybe 1,000 or 1,200 left from this last summoning event.
Yeah, because then we're gonna have, gold eggs and yellow eggs on after
Right.
that. But by then we'll be having more tier drops as well, because more people will be doing profession 10 level quests.
Right.
So it's interesting. Oh, the other thing I meant to I rabbit trail king here is that what's interesting is it sounds like combat is going to require stamina like a quest does.
I could see that for like a ranked, but I mean, people are going to want. I think it's going to be kind of like how duels are, where it costs to join in a ranked match, but you could do skirmishes for free.
Okay, yeah. So skirmishes we'll be able to do, but if we actually want to combat our heroes, it's going to cost stamina.
Right. And they'll probably do like the profession where it's 5 stamina. This is a very common gating tool to make sure people just don't like absolutely race to number 1 immediately.
Right. And it's our number one source of XP gain. So we won't be able to quest and combat at the same time, which is interesting. So with the use of bots, that's going to be, because it's such a pain in the ass when you want to do something with a hero, but he's mining and he's an hour, like he's in line, he's got to wait an hour before he even starts his 5 hour, or whatever. Isn't that a pain in the ass?
Oh yeah, big time.
And so it's going to get, and that's interesting to me. So what I think might happen with this is that stampots are going to go nuts and milkweed is going to go nuts again.
I would agree.
So you got green egg hatch coming up. That might require milkweed. Right now. Yeah, it might require milkweed or it might not. But it's going to require 2 of the gardening items, and there's only 3. So you got spider fruit, milkweed. I kind of hope it doesn't require milkweed, because if it does require milkweed, OMG. I kind of have a feeling that the egg hatch is going to require spider fruit and what's the other one? Blue, that other gardening item. Hatch the egg. So especially the blue stem.
Yeah.
So the blue stem right now is so cheap. In fact, I haven't gone to buy any, but I haven't been selling any. But man, that's an idea, to buy the blue stem. And then I think most likely the other item will be spider fruit. Well, spider fruit is also used in stamina potions. So people are going to be stampotting their combat heroes they're using in combat like madmen.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely out of their mind, stampots coming. And it's going to gain all that extra XP. So he said, yes, the profession 10 level quest will be a fairly significant XP boost compared to profession 0 questing and training quest. But he said it's not over the top mind-blowing. What's mind-blowing XP gain is combat. He said that, Hubert.
Mm-hmm.
He said
which
that's
makes sense
be
too.
The most significant spot to earn XP. So just imagine in that case, we will be able to level those heroes that are in combat up fast. But again, we're only able to do 3 at a time. I don't think we'll be botting for that. Do you?
No, I think it's
No
going to be
botting.
extremely difficult to bot a
Combat.
specifically because it requires so much user input. And
Yes.
you want to do it intelligently.
Yes. And so people that even try to bot, they're going to get their asses kicked and probably won't get much XP from that.
Right.
So it probably won't make sense to be botting that. So there is a limitation here, is because you can only do like one combat battle at a time with 3 guys. But even with that being said, you're going to be like, some of us absolute degen junkies are going to be doing that 12 hours a day, combating crap of our heroes.
Yeah, I'll be one of them.
Potting them all day long, burning through hundreds of stam pots.
Oh yeah, I mean, people like you with like the super like amount of heroes, you're gonna have like the gulag of I am farming stamina pot reagents only. That's all I'm doing. I'm making more stamina pots, and I am just going at it with these combats.
And that's Swift Thistle too, isn't it?
Oh yeah,
there's Swift Thistle and Milkweed for stam pots, and lots of gold.
Is it just gardening, or is it foraging and fishing as well?
Swift Thistle is foraging. Okay, no, also sailfish, right?
Yeah, I'm going in to look right now too.
Yeah. All right. I think sailfish is in there.
Yeah, the shimmer skin.
Oh, shimmer skin. That's it. Not sailfish. Shimmer skin. Okay.
And then you got darkweed. It looks like everything.
Darkweed.
Everything
and
except mining.
Also used for the foraging pets. I mean, to hatch the gray eggs.
Right.
So interesting. This is what I love doing is, okay. Yeah, shimmer skin, Swift Thistle, darkweed, spider fruit. So spider fruit will be used to hatch eggs. And I bet.
And 10 tiers. Oh my gosh.
And 10 freaking tiers. Good Lord. Tiers.
It's level 10 profession quests. It'll be okay. It's got to be okay, right?
I mean, in the short term, there's going to be such... So here's one thing that can help is if we start providing liquidity. So I looked at my liquidity today on my tiers. Okay, and we're talking here. I've got a screenshot date on my phone. Let's look at the screenshot, and I'm going to show you guys. I'm looking at my photos. I'm going to show you guys what I've done. Okay, so with the tiers, okay, hang on. Where'd that go? Okay, is this the old? No. Okay, I got it. And actually, I think it's going to be a good idea to pair tiers with gold. Because especially if you just got a ton of gold.
Actually, I've been meaning to ask somebody about that. How does the LP pairing work? Because I took out, I think I did bloaters in gold way back, and I just took that out, and I'm not 100% sure how that gains value.
Okay, just from the fees. So, and because there's such low liquidity for the tiers compared to the amount that will be needed. So there's going to be high volume of trading with low liquidity. And so that means that's when you get your biggest bang for your buck in these things. And so, and it's just from the fees. So the DEX charges fees every time you trade. And I think on these items, based off like you get a big chunk of the slippage, the lower the liquidity. So you know how you get that percent of slippage. in there when you're doing like, if you go to sell like 100 Swift Thistle right now, there's not much liquidity for Swift Thistle on either realm. So when you do that, it'll say like, 5% slippage, or it's not called slippage on there, but that's the normal term. And then you're getting like mega fees. So, and we're talking to the tunes of hundreds of % interest potentially or more.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
So how do you confirm that you're receiving that? Like, is there a way to see that?
Well, no, there actually isn't. But it's the same thing with the tokens you have in the gardens. You're not only gaining what you're gaining from the gardens, you're also gaining the trading fees. So, okay, I guess I got to import this. So you just pick, I think I've got mine currently with, I had some with gold, but then I need the tiers all the time because I've been hatching my eggs. And so I had some paired with tiers and gold. Yeah, price impact, Johnny. That's what it's called. So you accidentally hatched it. I know. Crypto Key. I did the same thing. I was so pissed. I'm like, I just hatched the Gaia's favor because I'm fighting with the damn bot all the time. And then you got to restart it all the time. Like every time you do a transaction, got to restart it again. Driving me nuts. Okay. So if you don't see your token pair, you got to add it, and then you hit manage this pool. There it is. Okay, now when I zoom in, let me just show you what I've been doing, how this has been performing. Oh my gosh. No, I didn't add tiers. That's right. Okay, so what's the date? On December 24th, okay, I had 418 crystal and 2,355 tiers.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
So now I've gained 100, and just for sitting in here, it's just sitting here. I've gained 130 tiers about, and I've gained about 10 jewel. About 10 crystal. 10 crystal and 130 tiers since December 24th.
How cool.
And this actually makes up 3.6% of this pool. And it's only 2,400 tiers. It's not, that's a good amount to dump all at once and to you. But okay, I've got 120 or something green eggs. Okay, to hatch all 120 green eggs is going to cost 200 tiers, whether or not you do favor or boon or grace. So you want to always be doing boon right now, especially, okay, because of the value of tiers. So to hatch 120 green eggs times 200 tiers, just for my stupid little wallet, is 24,000 tiers. Just the green eggs. There's not even enough hardly liquidity, like me by myself. Okay, that's 120 green eggs. We know that in existence, there's over 36,000 green eggs. To hatch 36,000 green eggs is going to require, I think it was 8 million tiers. Now we know that even if 10% of that is hatched, 800,000 tiers. Okay, there's not enough liquidity for that. Tiers are gonna go bonkers.
This is gonna make me produce 800,000 tiers.
Yeah. So the value of heroes right now, the floor value of floor. This is one of the biggest reasons why I'm not dark summoning. I'm not, I'm not like selling. I wanted to sell my heroes in bulk. It's like, wait a minute. Those heroes, the value of heroes to get the tiers need to be skyrocketing, right? It will be, because these tiers, having armies and having bots like Helper, Waifu, I guess Perilous Pirates has one right now. And I don't know if DFK's still around. I don't know what's going on with DFK.
I haven't heard anything from Thermopolis in a while.
Yeah, I know. So Yeah. So, okay. So you mean all you got to do is just create a pool. You come to the Druid, you create the pool, and you just add tiers and crystal. Simple as that, baby.
And then just wait.
And then you just add it. And you want the tiers on top. But I don't know if that even matters anymore. I think they fixed that. But non-divisible items, generally, you want to put on top.
Oh.
Yeah. Otherwise, it gets wonky. But then it works itself out anyways. And I think they fixed it. So, okay. Tad said on the Mythic Squad stream that because there's so many eggs and so few tiers that people will be selling the eggs, the egg prices will drop. I agree. Yeah, and that's why I don't have 200 green eggs. I've got 120. So tiers are going to become more valuable than the egg, and they already are. Yeah, right. The value of tiers are way more valuable than the egg itself to hatch. So we're already there.
Man, this is insane.
Yeah. Because the value in tiers right now, 200 tiers, let's just look. Okay. 200 TE. Oh, this is the wrong screen. Okay, we want the trader. I want to say it's like 35 crystal. 200 tiers equals 35 crystal-ish. Okay. So 200 tiers. 30, yeah, about 35. And if you swap that, you're buying the tiers. Yeah, it's about 35 crystal. Okay. And so the egg itself is what? 20 crystal or less right now. Like how much is an egg? Let's look. Okay, so like one green egg, 18 crystal. Dang, that's pretty cheap. So isn't that wild? That seems wild to me. Yellow egg. Now there's way fewer yellow eggs, so I have not sold a single one. Maybe I sold like 10 my whole life. Man, and it's the same price. That's actually a good time to, I don't know if it's a good time to buy yellow eggs or not, but there's like 20, what was it? 26,000 eggs or 24,000 yellow eggs versus like 30, or might even be like 38,000 green eggs. Okay, but look, think about that for a second, guys. There's 38,000 green eggs in existence. Think about this for a second. 38,000 green eggs. How many gardeners are there in existence? I mean, at least it's well over 100,000 gardeners. Okay. And then plus you're going to have, your fishing summoner and we're going to have the option to get that summoner a green pet and send him gardening now. Okay. So
can't wait for that.
Right. So that's cool. Now I still am not sure. It might still be better to send your fishing summoner with a fishing pet and get a better bonus to do that. But it's just cool to know that we will have the option with a pet to send him gardening with a gardening pet. Okay. So we're talking, there's only 36 or 38,000 green eggs in existence. There's going to be 50,000 heroes. I mean, that might be an exaggeration, that we're going to want to be profession 10 level questing gardening. Right?
Oh, yeah.
I'm thinking so. Okay,
I think
he's still around. Quietly chugging along without incident. Really? So what the heck's going on with Thenopolis? Okay. So, I mean, yeah, Bob, nothing. I have so many freaking miners. I probably have 300-400 miners easy. So I got a profession quest a lot of my miners, but I do try and mine, have my as many not doing the training quest. Okay, so what else is this going to do? Because the value of tiers going up, nobody's doing training quests. As little training quests as possible. What's that going to do with the value of gold, with the value of lesser crystals? We're already seeing the lesser crystals come up. Yeah. Hoarding tiers. And so the more, are you still there? You still with me? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So the more liquidity we provide, that will help with tiers because the fees are just freaking awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like it's incentivizing everybody because if you're just hoarding tiers right now,
Oh man,
you might as well make money off them, right?
Yeah. And so I, have really hard been thinking of becoming, I used to be like the liquidity king of DeFi Kingdoms. I was like providing on some of the things like the liquidity for some of the items, like 80% of liquidity. And what that does is it causes the ecosystem to be able to function because without liquidity, goodness gracious.
Yeah, if everybody hoards it, then nobody gets to exchange it.
Right. So there's, anytime, okay, like for example, part of the reason why I'm throwing the Swift Thistle in here, okay, not a ton, but look, just 63, and it's like 5% of the pool, okay, very low liquidity. So the value of Swift Thistle has dropped significantly. So it almost hit a full jewel, let alone a full crystal value. Okay, now it's what 0.3 of a jewel. If we check Adventures in DFK, baby, I love these guys, Neindorf and Raf. And if you pay the dang fee, which everybody should, to hook them up, baby, hook these boys up. All right, and you come to DFK items. This is super key. So as we see a value of an item that is way overvalued, you're dumping it, right? That's just the smart thing to do. You want to dump that thing. So, Swift Thistle, even at a half jewel, is kind of crazy. Where's it at? Okay. So, in terms of jewel, it is 0.27 jewel and 0.28 jewel. So, in terms of crystal, you double that a little more. It's like 0.6 crystal. Okay. So now that it's not 0.6 jewel, it's 0.27 or 0.28 crystal. I still want to hang on to that, right? It's going to pop again. So what do I do with it? I put it in liquidity. And so at one point I was a big like 30 or 40 or 50% liquidity of milkweed. And I want to say in just a matter of like 2 months or less, a month and a half, 6 weeks, I like tripled. There was so much liquidity, like trading volume of milkweed, like when contests were going and stuff. Okay. And people were stam potting like crazy. I tripled my money in that pool in like 6 to 8 weeks of milkweed.
Is there a place where we can see the
No, but
Neindorf?
That's another thing Neindorf's working on, baby. Adventures in DFK right here. He's
Gotta
working
love
on
him.
actually being able to provide that data. I think there might be a way somehow, like Faulty Poker used to be able to look at how much interest he was getting with his bloater fish and liquidity and stuff. Remember those days?
Oh yeah.
Who the heck's Faulty Poker? Where's he at, man? I miss him. He's the bomb. We got to get him. I got to hit him up. I got to get Faulty Poker. He almost came on the channel one time. Okay. It wasn't that long ago. So anytime you see, like right now, milkweed used to be 0.6 jewel. Okay. Then it was like 0.35 jewel for a long time. Then it was like 0.2 jewel. Now it's 0.03 Jewel. It's less than a penny. Look at that. So talk about a good time. I need to be, so I was thinking long and hard today. It's like, I just need to start because I'm getting all this interest now. So I've got extra money coming in from my liquidity pools, gardens on Serendale, which be careful there with Jade, because I'm super still surprised that Jade hasn't dumped way harder than it has. But I think it hasn't dumped because there's way less circulating supply of Jade compared to Crystal, and where you're getting 1,000% interest, or with the jewel pools, you're getting 300-400% interest still. So I have been dumping my Jade rewards that I'm getting right away, but I mean, I would expect that to drop down. I'm wondering if we're getting a bunch of Korean players in the game. I wonder if there was a couple big Korean players, South Korean players that popped in and popped Jade up over the past few days.
I'd love to see that.
Yeah, I was really wondering if that's happening. Hey, look, even Jewel's up. Now the whole market is also just pumping Bitcoin. So I think that's probably the biggest factor. But this got down to almost 12 cents, and then it pumped up to 14 cents after the summoning event ended. Does that make sense? I'm just so glad. I almost got out of all my liquidity that I have with Jade. I almost got out and dumped it when it was down around 12.2 cents or something. So glad I didn't do that. Okay. All right. That was a huge rabbit trail, and I'm the king. But
that was important, though. That was very educational.
Yes. So this is what I do best at, is what's going on in the economy of the game. I love doing that. Never hear much from Than, right? Thanopolis, except when there's an update. Think he just likes to stay in the background, but his bot works great for multi-walleting. Looking into using Helper 2 for my main. That's good to know, Bob Nothing. Bob Nothing, who's a Fight Club legend, by the way. And I would love to hit Fight Club even during the stream. Okay, after we go through, back to the alpha now. Okay. Yeah, so Thanopolis, I know he was really frustrated with the team. And Thanopolis didn't feel like his voice was being heard. And I've heard that from a lot of OG people in the game. They feel like, Thanopolis actually came on the channel live and said the team has no ability at all whatsoever to listen to community feedback. And we debated right there on the spot, like pretty hard debate. And then after the show, we had a 10 times harder debate. I mean, and so he was at the point of so much frustration with the team, according to him, not listening to feedback, which my pushback to that is I've never seen a team listen to community feedback even close to as good as DeFi Kingdoms. So of all crypto teams in the history of crypto, there's not a team out there that I know of that touches DeFi Kingdoms with a 10-foot pole when it comes to listening to community feedback, but he disagrees. And he also says that, and I've heard this from a lot of OG players, they don't feel like the team listens to feedback. And so Thanopolis, being pretty much a superstar developer, like probably about as good as it gets. He's like Born to Die 007 level, Zellies and these guys. He's super high level, high IQ, big brain developer. And so he feels like he could have helped the team, I think, and the team didn't listen to him. He felt ignored. He didn't feel heard. And I have heard that from quite a lot of people that have been in this for a long time. And I kind of understand where they're coming from. Now, with that being said, there's 1,500 people in the ecosystem with all kinds of different opinions out there of things they think they should do. I've got some pretty strong opinions. And so the team, to give them the benefit of the doubt, and especially a guy like Dreamer, he's got to grab the bull by the horns. And at some point, you're going to be, if you're listening to the community feedback too much, you're going to be in shackles. like you can't do anything because everything you do, there's going to be someone that bitches about it. So at some point, there's a fine line between listening to community feedback and just develop and do your thing. So what most projects do, because people in the world tend to be crazy and have all kinds of stupid things to say all the time. Now, this community is a million times exceptional, like high big brains, high level of people in this community that so you don't have a whole lot of just people that are idiots in this community. It's big brains. So, okay. So with that being said, it's a lot of good community feedback. I think the team, a lot of what they do is based off the feedback. Every single week, we listen to these AMAs. They're making changes and doing stuff based off community feedback all the time. But it comes to a point to where you have to be careful of because a guy like Frisky Fox, and I'm the same way. I listen to the feedback so to heart, and I'm such an empath that you're always going to have pissed off people. You're always going to have people bitching at you. And then you got to eventually, a guy like CZ will just say, F you, I'm just going to do my thing to all the haters. And then he just is the best at everything he does because he's awesome. But what a lot of people do is what happened with Frisky Fox. He almost had a heart attack. He wanted to give it up. He wanted to throw in the towel because of all the haters, and it affects your mental state. And it's really hard to stay optimistic. Even if I have one guy pissed off at me, I lose sleep over it. I can't imagine having hundreds and thousands or hundreds of thousands of haters out there sitting out there bitching about you all the time. Okay. I can't imagine. So you have to get to a point where you put up a wall and you're not just listening to everything out there. So with that being said, that always worries me that they listen even too much to the community.
You got a good point there.
They honestly, because it affects, I know it affects Hubert like big time. So when there's a hater on Hubert, so Hubert has gotten a little better about getting thick skin. You kind of see it, but what is the result of Hubert's thick skin? He won't listen as much. He's going to blow off more stuff, more of the haters, because you have to keep your head on straight to be able to function. Otherwise, you feel like you want to give up. So I'm really worried with like Workhorse, for example. He's got so much pressure on him, so much on his shoulders, and he's just he's an absolute anomaly human being. He's one of my biggest heroes on planet Earth. Okay, if let's say, combat might not meet all of our out of probably to the moon expectations that we all have for combat.
Oh, I totally do too.
Right? So I'm always trying to pull people's expectations back and think long term, because Workhorse has said only 1/50th of the game is coming out, right? So he's doing his best. I honestly think he's doing better than even what like Riot Gaming would be doing, honestly.
I'm surprised at how much they've released so far.
Oh honestly. My gosh. And the speed of development for DeFi Kingdoms, better than anything I've ever seen. But what they get all kinds of bitchers saying they don't develop right and they don't do this, they don't meet their deadlines. And so what do we see? We don't see roadmaps. We don't see alpha drops because of all the bitching that comes at them. So that is them becoming more resilient, okay, and putting on thick skin, and also helping to mitigate the FUD that comes against them if they don't reach a deadline. So, there's a delay for Clayton when that first came out. And I said it before I even read a single, FUD about it. I said, let the bitching begin. Here we go. We're going to have people bitching at the team left, right, and center. Well, because of that, they're even more reserved to give deadlines. They're even more reserved to have a clear, laid out, roadmap. Okay. Because that things change, things happen, this and that happens. We got bridge hack happen. We had all these. And so they delay. And that's just life in crypto. That's why Ethereum, Cardano is 18 million years delayed. You know, every single time they do anything, just add another year on it. It's like, or 2 years or 3 years. That's just life in crypto. And most people, most of the people, the haters, are new to crypto, right? So Thanopolis was one of them. I asked him, he's new to crypto. This was his first bull, you know, first bear, first bull. He was in it. So he's going to go out and realize, oh, wow, DeFi Kingdoms, you just go out and get a good taste of it. Not a taste, just drink it in on what you're going to get from all the projects out there in existence. They're not even going to acknowledge your Discord comment, okay? Most likely. They're not even going to hear you out at all. They're going to not have weekly AMAs and all these things. Okay.
They're actually slowing down the AMAs already.
Well, okay. So then I'm going to come back and circle back around. So I prefaced it with saying, best team I've ever seen in crypto, best at communicating, best team I've ever seen in crypto as far as communicating on their project, like updates. They have the core values of being open book. And they're literally the crypto dream team of dream teams that I've ever seen by far. That's why I'm all in. I'm like a jewel maxi. I'm all in on this project. Okay. So with all that being said, the reason why there's a zillion people that flooded the project and left, like we're talking 100,000 people got out of the project, like 99% or more of the community has departed. Part of that is the bear market, yes, but like this happened in May with the FUD against Frisky Fox, and I'm sitting back watching, and I thought the FUD was bogus, so I had to come to his defense. The more I looked into the project, the more it's so awesome, but I started recognizing they could do much better at their messaging and communicating, especially to guys like a Thanopolis, who's probably giving first-class advice and tips to the team. They need to make him feel heard better. Now, still, with that being said, they do a phenomenal job with that, like better than anything I've seen. But there are some things they could do in their messaging and marketing that I think is by far their biggest weakness, even though they're still better than anything else out there by a good amount. Okay. So that's kind of what happened with Thanopolis. He was so fed up with the team. He had put all his blood, sweat, and tears into the project. He had a lot of money in the project. He had a lot in, a lot of chips in, so to speak. And he didn't feel like he was being heard. And he just got in, and that will wear on you if you're not resilient against it. Okay. So like me and Dreamer, like big time, different page when it comes to messaging and marketing. He's on a totally different page. And so my old self 10 years ago, 20 years ago, probably would have had a bit of resentment with that, a little frustration, okay, with him. Even though honestly now, okay, seeing the big picture, seeing it from Dreamer's point of view, okay, he is perfect for what he does and he doesn't need to change a thing. I think he's ideal to be the president or whatever he is. That basically Frisky Fox's sidekick is important and much needed. But a guy like me would handle how you message and handle things a lot differently, especially on the kind of the marketing messaging side of things. And so, he's not feeling the way I roll because I'm a charismatic out there and he's like a risk mitigator. So he's thinking from a totally different angle. Okay. And a guy like me would make him real nervous. Right. So, and this is where everyone's strengths and weaknesses come in. Okay. But they don't even recognize that it's even a weakness. And it makes sense to me. So it makes sense. So, and that's where I was like, okay, yeah, this probably won't happen with me coming on and being like their PR / moderator / marketing guy for the team. That's cool. Makes sense. But I'm so resilient about letting that affect me personally or taking that personally but over time, what that can do and what it has probably done almost for sure with Annapolis is that he kept feeling not heard, and he kept, there was some friction going on with the team. Okay. And it starts wearing on your soul, especially in a bear market. The bear market wears on our soul. That's why, like Ryan, what's his name? Ryan, who, one of my favorite original OG followers, he hit me up and said, dude, I just want to let you know, I still love you. I'm still a DeFi Kingdoms fan. I'm not selling anything, but I can't do crypto anymore. I'm out. But I'll come back in the bull run, he said. And I said, dude, that's what I did last time. What happens is you lose your keys, you lose your phone, you lose your crypto, you forget stuff, you forget where stuff is, or things change and you don't keep up with what's going on. And it just, okay. So the worst thing you can do is just totally check out. And so at least stay somewhat plugged in, but also mitigate your mental health, right, through a bear market, because it's brutal and it might be here for another year or two. But all these things pile up. And after a year of frustration with Annapolis, he just is like, I'm done, kind of attitude with the team, just a frustration. But I never saw him announce that he's done because he started going real public with his, I'm talking like hard stuff against the team, like way over the top, like way overstated. The team has no ability whatsoever to listen to community feedback, was one of his comments. And he also is dogging on like the devs, the speed of development, and they're not doing a good job, things like that. And he started getting with little jabs, getting public about it. And then all of a sudden he went silent. And I don't know if it was because I was getting on to him pretty hard. So we got into it pretty big time, Thanopolis and I. So because I just kind of saw where this was going, and he was just going to be another big fudding voice of the project, that for all the same reasons that I am actually all in on the project. So, okay, that was way too long. Again, rabbit trail. Are you still with me?
Oh yeah, I'm here.
Okay. So, yeah. So the tiers right now to hatch a pet, 35 crystal. So you want to be doing the boon without question every hatch, without question. So, okay, if especially on the favor, okay, you're spending 200 tiers to basically probably get a pet that has the lowest likelihood of value. Okay.
Yeah, take some opinion questions real quick.
Yes.
I am going to hit the restroom real fast. I'll be right back.
Okay. Sounds good. DFK are the most consistent team in crypto. That's right. Steady Freddy. They're more solidified by the team. They're more solidified. They're more fortified, right? They've structured better. But that was even one of Thanopolis's. He said, okay, well, what's their structure? He went on and on about they've got a president, like these things should be public. I agree. That's another one of my strengths. Okay, but compared to where they were a year ago, they had zero structure, like very little structure. They have gained 10 times more structure as an organization now. They're much more fortified, and is the dream team. Yeah, DFK is a dream team by a literal dreamer. I love it. Best devs ever. That's right, baby. Jewel is hideously undervalued compared to most other gaming projects, most other crypto projects, egregiously undervalued. And the power tokens, all of it is egregiously undervalued. A $20 million market cap is what we're talking about here, guys. It's a micro. I mean, there is like probably 300 dead projects without a team even working on it that have a larger market cap, okay? Then including like Doge is even one of them. It doesn't even have an active team, so when you think about it, like Doge will do the trading volume of Jewel in 1 minute, probably of the Jewel's entire market cap, for all I know. It's like insane, the difference, and how unbelievably undervalued. One whale could come in and buy up, $20 million worth of Jewel, and Jewel would like 10x, 20x because of the liquidity. There's not even, he couldn't even actually, he would literally buy up all the Jewel in the pools. So you could literally come in and buy all the Jewel, okay, with, what is it, $10 million or something. And then there's like, you can't even buy any more Jewel. Like, that is bonkers to me. It's so mind-boggling how egregiously undervalued Jewel is. It just makes absolutely no sense. So it's like, okay, I guess we just keep grinding through the bear market and we're going to be sitting pretty down the road. As long as the game succeeds, the project is a success, Frisky Fox and Dreamer doesn't die in a plane crash or whatever, it's still a risk. But as far as like being a maxi of anything in crypto besides Bitcoin, Jewel is, in my mind, not only a super safe play as far as crypto is concerned, okay, because they are much more formulated. Even if Dreamer and Frisky Fox did die in a plane crash, I think we would still possibly survive. Okay, it's that much more solidified now as an organization. And I hope all that is in place also, by the way. So these would be a lot more of the questions that I had actually written down for Frisky Fox. Okay. So
alrighty, I'm back.
Yeah, I want to get Frisky back on the channel and talk through some of these different things. Yeah, they could do better with messaging marketing, YouTube content creator, wearing a bullish hat. That's right, Three Wolves. Aphex, I'm with you on Stampots. They're already have been up from a little while ago, a bit behind on 2x speed. Awesome, Aphex. Combat. Yeah, meaning, isn't combat always referred as like PvP and combat are one and the same, right? Or no? Is that wrong? Would you say Wowee? I always thought PvP and combat were one and the same.
So PvE and PvP are going to be instances of combat. Like,
okay.
All combat is going to be both of them.
Okay.
And the instances where Hubert has said, the majority of experience is going to come from combat rather than professions. I mean, this could be mean a multitude of things. Obviously, You're going to get, if you're using, he has stated 100% fact, if you're using stamina, you're getting XP, period, end of story.
Okay, right. So I always thought PvE was different than combat. So I'm wrong on that. Thank you for that clarification.
That's what I'm here for.
Low risk equals low reward. This is low risk with high reward. We always look for projects that are a gem. What's that? I remember sitting out there, for years. I sat out there. What is that project that nobody knows about that's going to just do a zillion million X, that some of these projects do? It's like finding Solana or something when it was 20 cents or 10 cents or 2 cents or whatever it was, or finding, a lot of these tokens. Like, I bought Cardano when it was less than a penny. I bought Binance coin when it was 79 cents. Okay. So what is that gem sitting out there? Okay. Well, it's right here. I found it. Like, my lifelong journey of finding that amazing, phenomenal crypto project when it's literally a micro cap coin. We've got it. And it's just easy pickings for us right now. But eventually the tides are going to turn and we're going to have $100 Jewel someday in the next 3 to 5 years, in my opinion. Could be wrong. So I'm saying low risk, high reward versus Bitcoin, which is low risk and low reward. Agreed. Bitcoin is more, like a store of value, I would say. Okay, does Waifu work with Ledger? No, it does not. So and I don't think any bot works with ledger. And if you have a ledger and you have a zillion heroes, that's a pain in the ace, big time. So you got 500 heroes, right, Eaton? You were the guy that said that. You're not using a ledger and doing that every time, are you? That would be, well, I guess like Brown Gent said with the multi-questing function, it's easier to use a ledger now. Okay. None of the bots work with hardware wallets. That's right, Bob. Nothing. Okay. Hoping auto-questing power-ups do that. That's right. Or they won't do me much good because that's where I locked. Okay. Yeah. So there will be, yes, low effort, high reward. That's right, Rock. So this is like the lowest hanging, fruitiest of all fruits that I've ever seen in any type of investment vehicle. It is the highest upside, lowest risk, by a mile asset I've ever seen in my life, by a mile. Jewel. Deflationary, tons of use case, left, right, and center, big time deflationary. It's Jewel is, I mean, I literally think this project has the upside where Jewel could be a top 10 coin on the market cap. Just imagine. Just imagine. I think that has the possibility. I think it's crazy that it's not at least top 100 or even top 50, honestly, right now as it is. So we are so lucky. Now, I know a lot of us got absolutely destroyed, okay, when Jewel crashed from $10, even $20, some people, okay, down to 20 cents. Okay. But if we can dollar cost average in, I've never seen anything even that touches this close. Honestly, when you have the core values of a team that honestly, I believe cares and looks out for the best interests of the community, even over their own best interests. They do its best for the community over their own pockets. They have the core values of actually caring. They have the core values of doing their best in a shrewd way as best they can. They're learning from their mistakes to communicate to the community. They do weekly AMAs. That shouldn't stop. They need a guy like a Rock or a me or somebody who is a full-time does AMAs every day, if you ask me, like Sandbox used to do. Actually, that's part of the team, and that was part of my vision with Frisky Fox months ago. Yes, Crypto Kong, love you. So with all these, with the team grinding, the tokenomics of Jewel, the use case of Jewel, the core values of the team, the quality of their partnerships, they're making partnerships with awesome connections. I think Avalanche is solid. I think Clayton seems real solid. And I'm the biggest fan in the world of Wisdom Gaming. They're doing stuff. They're just phenomenal. They check all the check boxes. Green checkbox checked left, right, and center. As far as what do you look for a potential long-term winner, this hits them all. All right. I love this. Someone give this man Wowee a Red Bull, LOL. Basically need a diaper on when Grady goes live. Scott Hansen of DFK. Oh my gosh, a bucket. Oh, I love this, man, you guys. Okay. Yeah, it's still a fan of Xearn. Yeah, Xearn. That's a good option for people that don't want to use a bot and have to give up your keys. Now, there's still risk with Xearn, though, but maybe less risk. I think Xearn is totally legit. That is an option, and it'll just do it for you. You're not going to make as much on it, but yeah, Jewel is king, baby. That's right. Starbuck. Yeah, effects. Xearn is nice, Larry. The cut is just vicious. Yeah, like 25% cut of all your items, and there's a delay to get them and stuff too. It's not like you get them right away. Now you can like claim them over time and stuff. It's still a good option. Like I would definitely be doing that if I didn't have some kind of bot going on. But see, that might kind of go away once the power-ups come where we can auto quest. Yeah, Helper does like everything you can think of. That's right. So helper, I'm getting on Zellies today. Goodness freaking gracious. Wow. Okay. I'm going to message him. He's next. I'm literally, and I still want to do Fight Club with you. I'm still live in the zone. Sorry, exclamation mark. But I'm talking a lot of helper right now, exclamation mark. Okay. So yeah. So there's a lot of game-changing things that probably makes helper more than worth the money that it costs, I think. Like for example, auto liquidity on all your items. Auto claiming of the pools, the gardens, sell and then put in auto liquidity. Stuff like that.
That's pretty nuts.
Yeah. Yeah. Nice. Now, it's a pain in the ass to get going if you have a lot of heroes, especially. Yeah. So Rock and Brown Gent, they're trying out helper. They're just, trying it out. It's hard to beat the waifu bots because it's so big brains the way Carlo has done that.
It's pretty streamlined. Like
I
there's a little bit of setup for like the auto level feature, but once you do get it set up, it's just load it up and you're done.
And it just works instantly. Boom. You level up your hero. You can't even freaking bridge them, before the damn thing starts a quest already. All the time. It's just like, boom. It's just working, always freaking working, interrupting me. And I got to close out MetaMask every 5 seconds and restart it because I'm fighting. But that's good. That means it's working. That way I know the bot, if I'm not going to, if I can function like normal on my phone, I know the bot's down, and the bot hasn't been down at all, hardly. But it was when I first got on with waifu, it would go down all the time, stop working all the time. Never, ever, hardly ever does anymore.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything since October.
Yeah, right? So yeah, back then, the damn bot stopped working all the time. And so like every couple days, I wake up and it's gone 13 hours without questing all my guys. That was a pain. But still, even then, man, it's such a life changer, game changer. Yeah, waifu is much easier. It's like the community bicycle, and it's big brains, it's genius. It's hard to pass up on. But we don't know Carlo, okay? We got to get Carlo on the show. Because does anybody know Carlo? Has anybody met Carlo? Now, I know Carlo's the bomb. I think he's active in the community. I think he's 100% legit. I think, that's probably the solution for most people. Yeah, when I say most, it's like the the Ford Focus, used Ford Focus versus a brand new Cadillac, kind of. And when you get a brand new Cadillac, that's probably a pain in the ass a little bit at first. You got to do some extra things to get all the gadgets working, the way you want it to work, and read the damn manual. And you got to do all this stuff but at least now with helper, you can just put the keys in and start the car. Like you don't have to use the spreadsheet anymore. Like you don't have to add the hero to the spreadsheet anymore. Like this. It'll just quest for you. But, it takes a long time, especially 1,700 heroes doing all this. Now, but here's what I do know about Zellies and Helper. Zellies is as legit as it gets. He's absolutely one of my most favorite human beings on planet Earth. Without question, he's going to provide a solution to make onboarding much easier eventually and make everything better. He'll probably, with the in-game power-up stuff, or whatever, he'll probably even be able to make it cheaper. You can allot S Joule, C Joule, potentially, to something like this, maybe. So, and he's doxxed. Like, he'll give you his address and phone number in Illinois, and he'll boast about it. And he's really out there. He makes himself available. He's a hardworking mofo, and he's big brains. Like, he's like a brother to me, I would say. Zellies almost as much as anybody. Like as much as like guys like the Mythic Squad that are brothers, guys like Crypto Kong and Zelf, baby, and Starbuck. He is an absolute brother. And so we know who he is. He's doxxed. Okay. Carlo lives in Singapore, works a 9 to 5. It's just him. And he's not as out there like making himself known. He's not doxxed. So that's the only real downside, I would say, to using that bot. Because the only real risk, it's actually, I would say, really as safe as anything could ever be, except that maybe he could plant a malicious bug somehow in it that could hack into your computer. So there's that. Okay, back. Hey, Zabu. Okay, all right. So let's continue. We are now on. Okay, hang on. Where are we? Where are we at here? Okay, we are on back to alpha with Wowee in this phenomenal spreadsheet that I think Wowee is going to be able to possibly earn a living off of.
Oh man, that'd be the life.
I know, right? So Wowee's got some vision for his life, things he wants to do. And he works as like a real estate agent, or something. And he's like barely making it paycheck to paycheck. And he just did this as a hobby. Well, I think we're all going to want this sheet and a lot C Jewel, S Jewel type thing where he can possibly make a living off this thing. And I think the community will be all high fives, all for it.
If I can provide community value and in turn the community provides value to me, that is the perfect symbiotic relationship.
Yes. So I'm the biggest fan for guys like Born to Die, who's Zellies, baby. So Zellies, we're just talking about you. Hey, start over 2.0x speed. Zellies is coming on next. Okay. Okay. So this spreadsheet, can you just imagine the breakdown with the traits, with all the heroes and the best combinations and da-da-da-da-da? There's so many different things you'll be able to do with the spreadsheet, man.
Oh yeah, my vision is to go forward and like say like Poison Blade right here up at the top. I'm gonna turn this into a drop down with explanations and show you like this would be good on this character or this character or with this subclass combination. That way, it'll just look more streamlined. It'll look great. Honestly, I probably could turn this into a web app.
Yeah, you really could. This could become, I mean, and so right now it's free. In the description below is both the link to the spreadsheet and the link to his Twitter. Okay. And so what this man was doing as a favor for the community might turn out as a living for this man. That's what I love to see. Guys like Born to Die, guys like Zellies, guys like Carlo, guys like Konex with Fight Club, guys like iOS Code making a living off this game in an awesome, fair, amazing, big brain way. Ooh, that's so exciting. Okay, where it's a win-win-win for all parties involved. I love it. Zellies, baby. Okay, so on to the actives, active trait ability genes. Okay, so you have already stated that you think the passives have an edge over the actives.
Yes.
How much of an edge would you say?
I mean, like a lot of these questions, it depends. So, I mean, passives will have an edge over actives, mainly based on how your team is built, right? So if your team is built on being like super fast or super damage heavy or super tanky and can last forever, passives are the way to go. Passives are just like the cherry on top of whatever you're trying to come up with, right?
Yeah.
For a majority of the actives, this is it's setup, it's answers or counters to what your enemy is doing, right? Of course, you get things like explosion, which give you ramps on your turn, right? Or
ramps on your turn.
so a ramp
like
means,
a ramp up, you mean?
right? So
Okay.
yeah, a ramp is like a sudden increase in value
Yes.
for your action.
Uh-huh.
So things like explosion would give you a damage ramp. All of a sudden, you've dealt way more damage than the other side, or you've caught up. But things like daze is an answer, right? It's a counter move. You want to use this when the enemy team is setting up, or you want to use it to manipulate turns, anything along those lines, right? But you can only use it once per battle.
Yeah.
So that's why it in the very moment you use it, it has extreme value. But the longer the battle goes on, all actives lose value, other than like say resurrection, which actually gains value the longer a battle goes on.
Interesting. Yeah, it's kind of like two different parts of the body here. It's almost like not even a comparison. You can't really compare them. It's like trying to compare the eyeball with the lungs.
Yeah, you need one all the time.
Two different
only
functions.
the other some of the times.
What's that?
You need one all the time. The other one only some of the time.
Yeah. Or like the heart and the brain are the two most important parts of the body, but are totally, you can't really compare the two.
Yeah, right.
The hand and the eyeball, you can't compare the two. I mean, the eyeball is more valuable by far in that scenario, but
but I will say this. You are probably going to gain so where some passives are really good on certain characters and really bad on certain characters, like we went over how Chatterbox is really bad to have on something that can't cast magic because being silenced does nothing.
Yeah.
So you don't run into that as often on actives. These are generally useful for everybody.
Yeah, okay. Got it. That's a good point. So all these active trait ability genes are useful for all heroes, you're saying?
Yes, pretty much almost all heroes. So
Okay.
that's where the rating comes in as well. Is I try to take into consideration how useful is it all the time? Is it more useful most of the time? Is it more useful some of the time? Or is it more useful some of the time or less useful all the time?
Yeah. Okay.
Right. So things like Poison Blade.
Okay.
Poison Blade and Blinding Winds, they're essentially the same thing, right?
Okay.
It is a basic attack that applies a status effect, right? They're essentially the exact same thing, and it's a 20% chance that the status effect will not occur, right? The attempt at putting the status on the target won't occur. Now, the difference in rating comes from the type of status effect being applied, right? Poison Blade has a B rating specifically because poison takes a long time to ramp up to get all of its value.
And
whereas blind is valuable right away, immediately.
Yeah, that's interesting. So the Poison Blade is awesome in that you're most likely going to poison them.
Yes, and the faster you apply poison in the beginning of the round, the more value it's going to get over time.
Now,
but that goes through, it has to hit.
Yeah, so you got to use this one early on in the match.
Right, and this is just, you're just fishing for cleanse, right? Which we'll get to in a little bit.
Okay, so then there's other moves. So could this 80% chance be reduced with some other debuff that, like one of the reductions of getting poisoned? Is there a reduction passive?
Yes, Stalwart.
Okay.
So passive Stalwart, basic 8, I think.
Yeah, a 40% chance not to be affected by poison.
Yep.
So that like reduces this 80% to like
even more,
50%.
Right, and that's not even taking into consideration the individual hero's own resistance to poison.
But this seems like it's just deal damage target enemy equal plus it has an 80% chance.
Right. So there's a 20% chance that it doesn't happen, period, end of story, right?
Yeah.
But like we were talking earlier about the hit calculation, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I choose to use Poison Blade on my
Okay.
target, right?
Yeah.
So that has to go through evasion, then it has to go through block, then it has to go through resistance chance, right? So if it hits, we have to see if it gets blocked for the damage, and then we have to make the 80% chance that it's going to apply the poison. That goes against the resistance factor, right? So if you have high wisdom or magical resistance, right, that's going to help you resist these status effects. So it's kind of like how stalwart works. You know, there's a
Yeah.
40% chance to not be affected by poison. Effect resistance is going to be it's going to be like that, but for every debuff.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
So right, so that's why those passes are pretty good because it just helps you
Mm-hmm.
resist even harder.
Even
Um,
time.
right,
So
so you have to get through all of those barriers in order to actually do what your goal is, which is to apply the poison.
yeah. So when it says deal damage to target enemy equal to 1.0 times basic, what does that mean?
So this is most likely a placeholder right now. The 1.0 is probably going to change.
Okay.
But basically this means it does the same damage as this is just an enhanced basic attack, right? It'll do the
Okay.
exact it's just 1.0 times your basic attack.
Okay. So we'll be able to do a basic attack if we're all out of skills and these traits.
Right.
We
Yeah,
run
basic
out.
attacks are going to be like the end all be all. So that's going to be
Okay.
there's going to be a lot of strategy involved in all right, am I going to choose to use an ability right now while they've got defensives up, or am I just going to choose to, get some chip damage in with a basic attack and not waste it when it's not going to be as valuable?
Okay.
There's going to be a ton of strategy.
Yeah. Dude, I got to listen back through all this again.
It's what we're doing it for, right?
Yes. Okay. And Jakamach, shout out to that man. He's like, I'm like putting this, I'm like saving this strain to refer back to. I love it. So maybe a swamper has more resistance to disease, desert, to poison.
Backgrounds. I was talking to Hubert a while ago about that, a couple days ago, and he said that they have no intention of incorporating backgrounds into
Yes.
combat.
He did say
Which,
that.
I mean, I get what he's talking about because it just makes it just gives them more stuff to do.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but
Yeah, maybe for PvE.
I would think so for PvE as well. Give certain bonuses for having a themed background. Like, okay, this is a forest dungeon, so if you've got a forest background, you can get 5% more damage done, or maybe better loot chances. But for right now, I think that's asking a lot of the team to incorporate when they're just trying to get this fun game out.
Yeah.
Which I think is his whole point.
Right. What do you think of Larry's comment here? Do you think items can have poison reduction, like a holy sword that gives chance not to be poisoned, or will items only provide damage and health bonuses?
I am super bullish on crafting. Super,
Yeah,
super, super bullish on crafting.
that's interesting.
I think everything that we craft is going to be just as unique as the heroes that we make.
Yeah.
I think they're all going to have different stat bonuses. I think they potentially will have different calculations for how their basic attack comes out.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
one bow might be really heavy on dex, which would be perfect, right? But then
Mhm.
another bow might be really heavy on luck or
Yeah.
strength
Wow.
to
Yeah, dude, that's
calculate
going
that
to add
basic attack.
such a crazy dynamic to the game. And
Oh
you think you'll have to have a pet to do the crafting and stuff, right?
Oh yeah.
Have
So
to
I
have
think
a pet.
I think you're gonna have to have a
It's
pet to
going to
do
come back
crafting.
to the pets, man. We've got 38,000 green eggs in existence. We don't have enough tier liquidity to even hatch like 1% of that. hardly.
then
I
how
mean,
many
we
tiers is it
do.
going to take to craft?
Yeah, there are enough tiers, obviously, in existence to hatch all those. There are, but if you've got a bunch of eggs and you want to hatch them, you got to have a ton of tiers. And then on top of that, we got way more gardeners than we do green eggs. Okay. Okay. So Starbucks says he's into strategy. So actives are my jam. I would hate not to have an elite passive not kick in.
Yeah, no, it's entirely true, right? So things like Last Stand, right? When we were
Okay.
talking about that earlier, where if you're at 21% HP and you get dunked on,
Yeah.
that may not even pop.
Yeah. Even though it's really an OP move, but that one thing maybe they could nerf is bump that up to 25 or 30% instead of 20.
It's true, but then how powerful does that become?
Yeah, then you think it might be too good.
Right. So maybe if it like
Because it's just invulnerable for one round is all.
right, and it's just the round until you start the next turn.
Right. So it doesn't seem
So
like that would be too OP to raise that to 30%.
my suggestion would maybe be stops you from losing health at 20% until the next round.
Hmm.
So if I'm at 21%, I can only take 1% damage until all damage is stopped for that round, and then it continues on the next round.
Yeah.
But that also might be really overpowered.
Huh.
We don't have the testing
Because I'm
that they've
just
got.
thinking one round isn't just a one round.
Oh yeah, this is 100% made to just turn the tide
Mm-hmm.
in close matches. I think it's going to happen a lot more often, right? In super, super, super long matches, it's going to become apparent like who's utilizing their resources better over time. But in like super fast, high damage, high octane, violent
Mm-hmm.
PvP matches, it's probably going to come down to like there's going to be one person left on each side at round 6. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? They're just going to be going at it like crazy, and this is the kind of passive that has the ability to just like stop that and
Yeah.
turn the tide. You know, all I need is one more turn.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, because I mean, from my perspective, it just doesn't seem too OP, but maybe we'll
Which is
find
where you
that.
kind of want it to be. You want it to be good, but not overpowered.
Yeah, right, right. Okay. Okay. Got it. All right. So that's interesting. Yeah, passives that never kick in aren't worth a lick to me. I like actives because you can strategize with them, but you can also strategize majorly, right? With the passives, we've gone over a
True.
lot.
Yeah, if you have a passive that doesn't require criteria to activate, bam, that's strategy right there.
Mm-hmm.
It's strategy you've done ahead of time, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, but I think maybe he's just kind of saying that a little more strategy maybe in the actives.
Oh yeah, these so
Okay.
actives are answers. Where
Okay.
passives are setup, actives are answers.
Okay. Okay. So, yeah, we covered poison blade. So, blinding wins as you deal damage to target enemy, and this attack has a chance. So, it's kind of like poison blade. So, 80% chance to blind versus poison blade is an 80% chance to poison. And blind is hero's accuracy is reduced by 50%, which is pretty significant.
Yeah, it's incredibly significant, especially if that can go into the negative direction.
Yeah, and so that's always there until
Yeah.
that hero dies. That's what he means until removed.
Yep.
Until that hero dies, just the whole
Or
map.
is cleansed.
Oh, until he's
Yeah.
cleansed.
You can cleanse it as well, which we're going to get to that,
Okay.
in two more. But yeah, the reason why I rank this so much higher is because both poison and blind last until remove.
Yeah.
Both of
Okay.
them do.
Okay.
Poison gets its value the longer the fight goes. Blinding Winds gets its value immediately, right as soon as the status debuff is applied, right? And a minus 50% accuracy is absolutely huge. That
Yeah.
means with a 0% evasion unit, you're still going to miss them half the time.
Yeah. Interesting. Oh, but the poison also stays.
Right, but that ramps up really slowly over time.
Right,
It
right.
gets really
You got to hit
in
them
long,
early on with it. Okay.
yeah, and really
But
long fights. It gets really good.
blinding if you hit them early on and they don't have cleanse, which we're getting to.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah,
Interesting.
then it just completely gimps them for the whole fight if they can't get it off.
Okay. So heal only got a B. Heal
Yes.
target hero for 20% of max HP.
So depending on the speed of combat, one turn might not warrant 20%, right?
Yeah.
If I take 30%, if I'm taking 30% of my HP and damage every single turn, then
Mm.
using one turn to
Yeah.
undo
Not worth it.
2/3 of one turn is not
Right.
worth it. However, this could come, really clutch in some scenarios, and it
Okay.
gains a lot of value when it's used on a really high health, high HP, highly defensive unit.
Yeah. So someone who's really jacked up with vitality. And it says heal target hero. So that's like one of your allies, or can you
Yep,
heal yourself?
it's really good because you can heal anybody.
Okay. Okay. Interesting.
Right. So B doesn't necessarily mean it's bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like B, if it's got a rating of B or A, it's great, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
totally usable. It's situational,
Okay.
but there are better options on the table.
Yeah. Yeah. And maybe they could buff that a bit.
Yeah, maybe
25, 30% instead of
would
20.
be much more impactful. But
Yeah.
you got to remember, they've got the testing facilities. We don't.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So cleanse target hero, meaning like, okay, remove all negative status effects. So that's blinded, poisoned. What else?
That's everything.
What
Every
else?
single status effect. So we're talking banish. We're talking berserk. We're talking bleed, disarm, slow, burn, confused,
Mm,
dazed, exhausted, fear, poison, silence, sleep, stun.
got it.
There's a ton
And those will
of debuffs.
stack. So that's especially good if someone's like blinded and poisoned and whatever and whatever.
That's exactly right. So if the enemy team just spent all of their turns trying to stack debuffs, and I just used one turn to undo all of that, I've just given myself an extremely advantageous action economy. Because for one turn, I undid 3 of theirs.
Yeah, right. So that's like SSOP.
Yeah, this is going to be an absolute staple in PvP.
So this could have even been like a advanced ability.
Honestly, yeah.
Trait.
So like this, I think they made it common on purpose because it's going to be almost a requirement. You're going to have at least one cleanse in your team for PvP.
Okay. And the more the merrier, almost.
Almost, yeah. So it depends, right? Situational.
There's not really a way to buff that. I mean, nerf that. How could they?
The way you could nerf that would be like removes up to 3.
Oh, okay.
So there is a way to nerf it. But I mean, not much.
Uh-huh.
Even if it removes up to 2, it's still super useful.
Yeah.
Because there's a ton of status effects in the game, and removing any of them is just crazy good value.
Okay.
Because you have to take a turn to apply it.
Yeah. That'll be interesting to learn all the status effects. More. I mean, we've learned some of them. Okay. So B5 Iron Skin, reduce physical damage by 20% for 4 rounds.
Yes. All right. So this one's pretty okay because it's got a fairly long life, right? 4 rounds is a good amount of time.
Yeah.
But it costs 1 turn, and the
it's
benefit,
not dealing any damage to them.
right? But it's taking away damage from your team, right? And 20% times 3 is a pretty good amount of damage reduction. Because it's applying. Oh wait, no, this isn't that one. I'm thinking of
20% times 4, even.
Yeah, it's 20% times 4 for all the rounds. I was thinking of one of the knight abilities that gives damage reduction to everybody.
Okay. But this doesn't give it to everybody. This is just to that person.
This is self-target only.
Self-target only. Okay.
It's really good, but again, this falls into the same trope of heal, right? Depending on the speed of combat, 20% might not be enough to make a difference. It's still incredible. It's still fantastic. It's still great, but you might have a better option.
Okay. Yeah, that is pretty good. 20 for 4 rounds. Okay. It's interesting. Okay. And Zelly said a pet that could resist poison. That's interesting.
I'd love that.
Would you rather have Giant Slayer or Stun?
Oh, stun. Stun all day.
Okay.
Stun all day long.
That's speaking Starbucks language there.
Yeah, stun is we're coming up to it here soon.
Yes.
But stun is the second best gene you could possibly have.
Okay. Wow. Stun is. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. You said that yesterday. Okay. So Bean said he's really trying to land a double explosion offensive type hero.
Oh yeah, that'll be great. If you're looking at something along the lines of things that can scale their basic attack really, 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 really high. Like you're looking at things like a Berserker, right? Where every time they take damage, their basic attack goes up higher by a percentage, right? Or every time they deal damage, their basic attack goes up higher, right? And that can stack with AoE, right? So if I'm a Berserker and I'm using an AoE and I'm attacking 3 people at once, that means my damage is ramping up even faster on my basic attacks. And if my basic attack is really high, explosion does much more damage.
That is cool, man. Yeah. Wow. Hopefully pets are equipable or equipable items have a function to reduce cost of items. That's interesting, such as tiers.
That might come into play for like power-ups, I think.
Yeah. Someone mentioned that maybe we could do a tier power-up. I didn't hear them ever.
I would love a tier power-up, please.
Yeah.
I'd throw 1,000 jewel
that will make them crash in value. I don't know. It's hard to figure all that out.
It's true.
But we do know that Profession 10 level quests will increase the drop rates of tiers. That's the only thing we know that they've said.
It's definitely the most fair approach too.
Yeah. Okay, I think some magic caster would have abilities similar to cleanse that can remove or prevent status.
I believe that that's true as well. I think some of them are going to have cleanse ability, right?
Like priest.
Priest will definitely have a cleanse ability. It may have an AoE cleanse ability, and it's like 10 cost ultimate, right? Remove all status effects from all of the team.
Like an OT.
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
But that's where efficient's going to come in, because that's probably going to cost a lot of mana to do. The cleanse is free.
Yeah.
It costs nothing other than your action.
Yeah. That's cool, man. That is cool. And then we hit on speed yesterday, and it's just they really need to buff that somehow.
Yeah, this is just a problem with math, right?
Yeah.
So the reason I'll just recap it really quick.
Yeah.
Speed has an issue because it costs a turn to change the turn order for 2 rounds. If it was permanent or lasted longer, right? Like maybe 6 rounds or something along those lines, it would be better. But essentially you're closing the gap between your 2 most recent turns, right? So turn that I use speed, I get to, if say I'm the last one going, right?
Yeah.
There's 6 total units in this game, right? And I'm going last out of all 6. I use speed, that uses my turn. Now I go next, right? Now I've got 5 people that go, and then I go first again, right? Now my speed, my first strike buff wears off, and I get put at the bottom of next round, which means all 5 other people get to go. The next round starts, all 5 people get to go again, and then I get to go.
Yeah.
You're putting 10 turns in between your actions 2 turns from now.
Yeah.
It's just a math problem.
Yeah,
right?
I've seen some of my heroes that have like double speed. It's like, oh no.
Which, I mean,
they do something with that.
This is 100% like one of those abilities that's going to get changed.
Yeah. Okay.
This is going to get probably reworked.
Okay.
in its entirety, because it's just so blatantly a math problem, and
Okay.
that's all the issue is just a math problem,
Okay.
which makes it even like it makes it much more fixable. Like they can add something to it where it's like deal damage now and at the start of the next round, right?
Yeah.
Deal double damage to your target or something like that, and you go first.
Right. Interesting. Okay. Zelly said, I'd go the DPS approach, get in, get out, afflicted with every bad status effect ever made.
I like that. I'm also a huge risk taker. You definitely like the Berserker.
Oh, yeah. He's a Berserker. Zellies. Okay. Imagine Death Marks is. So, what does DPS stand for there?
DPS stands for damage per second.
Oh.
So that's
An
a
AoE.
yeah, it's an MMO term.
Okay.
Which is just
Okay.
like how effective are you at every given second?
Yeah. Okay. And then AoE. Imagine Death Marks is plus AoE, the enemy side too. What's AoE?
That'd be kind of incredible. So AoE is area of effect, right? It just
Oh,
means that it happens to everyone on the other side.
okay. Got it. Okay. Bean don't have one of those yet. Okay. Hardened Shield explosion, toxic days. Okay. Interesting. Oh, okay. Sorry, 3 wolves. All right. So, critical aim. This is one of the most OP
Oh yeah.
currently. And so, and did you say yesterday you don't think this will be nerfed?
It's kind of hard to nerf this. The only
Okay.
because of the intention behind it. The only thing I
Yeah.
can see them nerfing it is by the amount of rounds it affects you, right? Because the intention here, right? The mechanical intention they have is to give you a critical hit. You're using an action to gain a critical hit.
Yeah.
It's for setup, and they want you to choose between a channel for 2 turns or dealing an enhanced critical hit damage for 2 turns, right? They want you to make that decision. That's why this is so good. I actually had this ranked at S before,
Yeah.
and I bumped it up to SSS specifically because of the confirmation we got from Workhorse that magic damage, because I didn't know this before, that magic damage can crit and healing can crit.
Yeah, that's right. You said
So
this on Boxside Chats, I think, didn't you?
yes,
Yeah.
I actually haven't been on Bogside yet, but
Oh,
yeah, I'll be hanging out with them guys
okay.
tonight. But yeah, the fact that healing can crit and magic damage can crit means that this is absolutely 100% usable on every single character in every single scenario.
Yeah.
Do I
So
need
you do got to kind of waste a round to use it, but then for the next 2 rounds.
So it's only a waste on low basic attack units.
Okay.
So on your warrior or your archer, right? This is going to give you a free crit because it deals damage as well. This gives you a free basic attack.
Oh, yeah.
And it's probably going to crit. And so then the following 2 rounds, you have increased critical hit chance.
Dang.
Yeah, this is insanely good. But then things on like say your priest, right?
Yeah.
It's you're going to attack something, right? You're going to have increased critical hit chance. Your basic attack's probably not going to do as much. However,
Your
the next
heal.
2 rounds, your heals are going to be
Yeah.
insane.
Right. And so interesting. It's just good for anybody. Period.
It's good for literally everybody in every scenario.
Yeah. And you don't think that's going to change?
I feel like they're gonna have a hard time tooting this back because they wanted to give because you can only use it once, right?
Mhm.
And they want to give you the ability to crit. They
Yeah.
want to give you the ability to choose between do I do 2 basic attacks or 2 single turn abilities and get crit chance on it, or do I channel and get big damage, right? They want you to like be thinking about that. This requires a lot of strategy, but it's good whenever you use it.
Yeah.
So this is kind of in the same boat as Toxic, where it's like if they power this even slightly, it loses a ton of value.
Yeah, right.
Right? It's teetering that line between like, do I want to use it? Is it too much risk to use it?
Mm-hmm.
Or is it a must-have?
Yeah. Wow. Okay. And then Deathmark also looks pretty OP here. SS.
Oh yeah, Deathmark's fantastic. This is probably going to be best suited for like a support unit. So in the very beginning, your support units are either going to be buffing your team or debuffing the enemy. Because if they're healers, they're going to have nothing to heal in the very beginning. Right? Everyone's at full HP. There ain't nothing else to do. Might as well buff or debuff the enemy team, or use Deathmark. Deathmark is fantastic. You put this on any target you want before you start dealing damage, and everyone gets 20% increased damage on that target.
Everybody on the team, all
Right.
your allies. Yeah. So target enemy receives 20% increased damage from allies, but not yourself.
Oh yeah, you're considered an ally.
Okay.
Yeah. So
interesting.
For all intents and purposes, for 2 rounds, this is a better than max stacked leadership on one target. So if you've got leadership and you've got a death mark on a target, you're essentially dealing 35% additional damage.
And that's every single hero on your team.
And that's for every single hero on your team.
Got it.
Against that one target.
Okay. Cool, man.
Yeah, the death mark is specifically for setting up like, okay, we got to burn this guy down as fast as possible.
Yeah. Huh. So would you say Deathmark, Cleanse, and Critical Aim are better than these advanced trait abilities?
In some cases, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, in some cases, yes. Cleanse is going to be useful literally all the time, forever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever.
And so Critical Aim.
Yeah, they're all going to be useful all the time.
Yeah.
Deathmark is going to be a little bit less useful because sometimes you don't want to deal as much damage. Sometimes you want to heal. Sometimes you want to do, supporty, actiony stuff.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, got it. So Exhaust, Advanced 1 Exhaust.
Yes. So Exhaust is fantastic.
Yeah.
Exhaust and Daze are kind of in the same family where they're kind of their main goal is the interrupt. Like that's their main job is the interrupt. You see someone channeling anything, right? Defensive spell, anything that they may be channeling. You hit them with an Exhaust or a Daze and it interrupts it. It stops that channel dead in its tracks, right? Now, the differences between the two come in from the status effect, which is the difference between Exhaust and Daze.
Okay. Interesting.
See, while they both interrupt and they both do turn manipulation, Daze puts the target at the end of the round, where your target could have been going next and could kill a unit on your team.
Yeah.
Now they're going at the end, and you've got an option. You've got the ability to prepare for it, counter that, right? This is an answer to potential devastation, right?
Yeah.
And then Exhaust, which in my opinion is a better status than Daze is your hero can't take an action on its next turn, right? So whether it's faster than you and it's already gone, or it's slower than you, it will not go on its next turn. Its action is gone. It's like a mini stun, like a pseudo stun. This alludes to, us being able to do something along the lines of like a potion, or if it's PvE, we could probably choose to run. But there's going to be other things to do on your turn other than just use actions.
Interesting. Wow, we got guys on Twitter, Slow Mad and Guy Kid are chatting. Okay. About some of the same stuff.
Oh, really?
Okay. Yeah. Interesting. Okay. So that is okay. Interesting. All right. So then explosion also OP.
Oh yeah, explosion's just fun.
Mm-hmm.
I love explosion. Put this on any DPS unit.
Dang.
Any DPS unit.
Yeah.
Anyone that's got a high basic attack calculation, right? And that could be, honestly, it seems like it could be almost anybody, right? We might have priests that have high basic attacks.
Yeah.
I think it's entirely possible.
Yeah, that has at least a move you can use.
Right. So this deals damage to the target equal to 1 basic attack, which that I'm sure that 1.0 is just a placeholder for right now, just like it is everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so this deals damage to your target first. It's a single target, and then that explodes for 100% of the damage dealt, which means if I dealt 100 damage to my target, it deals 100 damage to everybody on the enemy team.
Yeah, that's OP. The only reason why it's not SSS is if it's only one guy left alive or something.
Right. If there's less people on the team, on the enemy team, it loses a little bit of value, literally numerically. But
you want to use that thing early on. Yeah.
Oh, you could use this at crucial points too. So, it may come into the point where, like, okay, I don't want to use explosion right now because they've got a knight, right? And the knight is reducing the damage that everybody's taking for the next 4 rounds. So I'm going to wait these 4 rounds out and deal maximum damage with this after all the damage reduction's gone.
Okay.
It's going to be like you're fishing.
Oh, like Hardened Shield does. Hardened Shield.
Yeah. Except the knight has an ability where it does basically that for everybody else.
Yeah, right.
So explosion is fantastic, especially if you use critical aim before you use explosion.
Oh, well,
this is why critical aim is so rated so high, because there's so much setup that it does.
Okay, but on the explosion, there's no, I guess, okay, so you can still shield or evade an explosion, I guess.
Yes. So it's considered a hit, right? But if it is a hit, it can also crit, which means if it crits, it can deal that crit to everybody on the team, right?
Okay.
So say it deals 100 damage, and then it deals 100 damage to everybody, right? That one target just took 200 damage, and the other 2 took 100 damage. But if a crit, say, doubles the damage done, then that means that target took 400 damage, and everyone else took 200 damage.
Yeah. Wow.
It's crazy. Explosion is great. This is that, like, I'm going to spend the entire game, like, stacking all my damage bonuses, putting up critical aim so I can get that increased critical strike chance. I'm just going to set up for this big giant move, and this is it.
Yeah. Okay, so then Hardened Shield is better than Iron Skin by 50%, suffers from the same problems, but also benefits from the same bonuses. Unsure if this stacks with Iron Skin for a 50% damage reduction.
Right. So it is just literally better than Iron Skin.
So Iron Skin is Hardened Shield, except it's 20% for 4 rounds instead of 30%.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's much more valuable, right?
And it's a good move. That's a pretty good
30% damage. Like, no one's going to be mad at that ever.
Yeah.
It's just good.
Yeah.
You got to use it intelligently, though, right?
Yeah.
So if you're on turn 1 and you're going first and you use Hardened Shield, and then the enemy team does nothing but, use buff setup and no damage was dealt, you lose all the value for 1 round.
Okay.
Like, this is only really useful when damage is incoming.
Yes. That's right. So in when they see that they know you used Hardened Shield,
they'll try and attack something else most
likely.
likely.
Then they'll, like, heal that round or whatever. Will be okay. Interesting. So then stun, you said, is the second best move, even better than resurrection.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Okay.
It's a one-off, but it is the ultimate answer to anything anyone does. It's the
Really?
ultimate answer. There is no stun resistance in the game that I've seen so far. None of the passives resist stun. None of the classes so far have stun resistance. Right? Even special cases on the archer tree where if you have a combo set up and you're going for this big giant channeled hit, it can only be stopped by stun.
Okay.
Stun is the master CC answer, and CC means crowd control.
Yeah.
Right? If they're setting up for something and they need exact turn order in order to do it, stun them. It skips.
Okay.
If you've got a ton of debuffs and you're setting up for a gigantic attack on one target and you see someone's about to cleanse it, stun the cleanse user.
Okay.
If you see that what else? You got a Dread Knight on the other team and
Okay.
they're about to absolutely just demolish you, stun them.
Okay.
It's got insane.
And then it just skips that one hero that you stunned.
Yep, it just skips them for the round.
Okay.
It is absolutely
Just
insane.
for one turn, and you can only use it one time.
Yep.
Interesting. Did you have that rated that high when you can only just use it once?
Yes. So this is the difference because it's absolute turn economy, right?
Right.
It's the most even you could possibly do. I am using a turn to skip yours.
Yeah.
It is perfect. It is balanced in every way.
Okay.
However, you get to choose when that happens.
Wow.
That's what makes it so powerful.
What's so cool is I think I've got several heroes with stun. I think I even have one with 2 stuns.
Oh, wow. Wow.
I love it.
Yeah, stun and cleanse are going to be absolute staples in PvP. You're going to see it everywhere at the high levels, and it's going to be basically who's going to bait out cleanse, who's going to bait out stun, and when. Like, games are going to be played so evenly that it's going to come all the way down to who uses these staple abilities correctly.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. But man, look at Second Wind.
Second Wind's great.
Second Wind seems even better almost than anything I've seen, except like.
So on the surface, it does seem better, honestly.
Okay.
So what it does, right? Wow. It heals the user for 50% missing HP, right? Yeah. So if I'm missing half my health, it'll heal me for 25% of my
25%. But if you're down to 10 or
you're down to nothing
health, ooh.
Yeah, it's basically as good. If you get to use it, it's basically as good as Second Life, but costs a turn to use, right?
Okay, costs a turn.
But on top of that, you get to heal everybody else.
Yeah, which is so it's almost like it's even better than Resurrection.
Almost, right? You got to catch it before somebody dies.
Oh yeah, you got to use it before somebody dies.
Right. So you're going
to want that guy in the front line.
Right. Yeah, you want the guy in the front line. However, if the guy in the front line hasn't taken any damage and they've only been smacking your back line, this won't do anything for him.
But the frontline guy is going to be taking the most damage, right?
Or you hope.
Okay.
I guess
there's scenarios where that won't happen.
Yeah, so like the archer has range 3, right? Mm-hmm. They're made to attack your back line.
Yeah.
And then the knight has things to either take portions of damage dealt to others to itself, or like you're not allowed to, it makes it so you're not allowed to target other things other than the knight for a certain amount of time. Like for instance, paladins from leaked DFK Twitter alpha have an ability called Blessing of Justice.
Oh yeah.
Where it forces the enemy team to only be able to target the paladin while it channels.
Oh, interesting.
So that can completely ruin big setups, especially because the paladin can be, a chunky monkey. We could get him to be super beefy. He could probably take gigantic hits. He's probably going to take damage reduction while he channels. An archer paladin, a paladin archer can have shroud while it channels and gain evasion.
Yeah.
There's a ton of combinations just in the small amount that we've been given. There's already a ton of combinations that can
Right.
be used
Dang.
that coincide with Second Wind, right? So now that I've got everyone attacking my Paladin, right? My Paladin's probably going to go down low in health, and I can use Second Wind on the next turn
Dang.
to restore everybody.
Dang. Interesting. And then obviously Resurrection is still phenomenal.
Yeah, in no world is Resurrection bad unless
You die.
a Resurrection user dies first, because then it can't use Resurrection on anything.
Golly. So a couple questions. Do you think we'll see the enemy's skills and abilities in combat? Do you think we're going to know what they've got in their
100%? I think we're going to see traits.
Okay.
We're gonna be able to mouse over them in combat and see what traits they have.
Okay, but we might not see what
we might not be able to see
they've
skills
chosen,
or we probably might see something along the lines of like how many skills they've chosen in what trees, right? So say for a knight, and I'm only bringing this up because that just came out. They've got the honor tree, the valor tree, and the iron tree. We might see something along the lines of like Iron 4, Valor 2, Honor 1, right? So we can see what kind of build they went for, but not exactly what abilities they have.
Yeah. So, okay. And then to answer this question, Zellies. So there's two tools you can use to search for these traits. The best, like one, if you just want to look, like in a tavern, and I bet Beetle Doodle add it to the game. Okay. But as of now, you can't just come in here except Born to Die, baby. You can just come to the tavern and search. Oh, you can add the ability or you can add that over here. If I can, hello. Okay. So you can come here and filter, I think, right, and add.
I think you got to click the 3 dots next to.
Oh yeah, just click any of the 3 dots, and then you can come here and add. You can actually add passive 1, passive 2, active on, and then you can search for it specifically. So if I wanted to add, active, okay, and then it shows up over here, which you can rearrange this and save it. And then when you click on it, you can search specific ones, right? So let's say I want whatever. What is that? Let's say we want Elite 2, which is what? That's, and then you can search it here as well. Oops. You can search it in both but this is one or the other. Okay. So all these are for sale in the tavern right now. And this is the price. That's some decent prices here. $27. That's 300 crystal for a seer wizard. Okay. Then you can X that out and then search it on this side to see if it's, Elite 2. And then it's the same thing, right? Doesn't matter if it's an active 1 or active 2. That's right, isn't it? If you just want an Elite 2 ability, it doesn't matter if it's an active 1 or active 2. Right? Wowee?
No, I don't think it does.
I don't think it matters. So you just want to search both sides. And there you have it. And then also Adventures in DFK has a roundabout way of finding it when you, oh gosh, if you pay for their subscription in the summoning part, like the hero matching, you can just like search the tavern that way. It's easy. Okay. And then I hate it when this happens. Dang it. Okay. Just need to go home sometimes. All right. So you come to hero matching, and then you just put in a hero number randomly. Just you can do whatever. Put in a hero number, and you can say for sale. And if you're trying to rent out a summon, and you can say min abilities that can mutate, you could just say 1 if you're trying to mutate 1 or something. And then when you hit view, this will show all the heroes for sale. And then on the far right hand side, you can look at all the matches for the abilities. But one thing I was wondering if Neindorf would add, he added ways where you can just search for hairstyles, for head appendage, for all the visuals, but not for the abilities. And so I imagine he might end up adding that. Okay, website I think it probably logged me out. Okay.
I know the closest thing you can get is the number of mutations possible section.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But that's about it.
And then you can kind of search through them real quick, pretty quick. Like you can just scroll down and search through it. It's not too bad. Okay. All right. So back to the sheet. Okay. So we just went through them all. Resurrection.
Yeah. That's all the genes. Yeah, resurrection will always be good, except for in that one
scenario. Mm-hmm. Do you think that could be buffed to 75% or 60%, or do you like where it's at 50%?
I really think it's pretty powerful right where it's at.
Okay.
The problem with resurrection is it puts a target on that hero.
Right. You're going to go after that guy first, like
right.
archers and.
Yep, 100%. So if you've got a resurrection user, you got to build a way to protect it.
To protect it and heal it and cleanse it.
Be prepared for that to be the main target.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Okay. Okay, so mages are going to have good range. All right, Johnny, digging deep into the crates for that. Okay, cool. All right, so now real quick, we kind of already went over this, but so we don't have to spend too much time on this. So you've got the Berserker, Archer, and Knight, because that's all that's been given so far. And out of these first 3, you can only choose one of these first 3 and one of these next 3.
Right. Each bracket, you're only allowed to choose one. But you don't have to choose the same tree. You could choose whatever you want.
Right. But it's cheaper to stay within the same tree, right? Is that right?
I don't think that's necessarily true. I think the only discount that comes in is at the 10+ bracket, where if you have to have that skill prior, and if you do, it's 10 minus the cost of whatever the previous skill was to obtain it.
Okay. Wow.
So if it's a 10+ and it costs 5 to have the base ability, then the 10+ only costs 5.
Okay.
But if it costs 3 for the base ability, the 10+ costs 7.
Okay. Huh. And then in order to pick these at 10+, you have, and let's say you want to choose the bear skin, you have to have chosen at least one of these up here.
No, you have to have chosen the actual bear skin ability,
which is just this first one.
No, so in the 2-cost bracket.
Okay, number 2.
Yeah, so you see bear skin, and the ability name in the 10+ is called bear skin plus.
Okay.
So
All right.
this one would cost 8 to get Bearskin Plus.
Yeah. Got it. Interesting. Okay, and then you even rank these over here.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I also meant to mention, I like how, in case you need to know a definition like AOE, I asked that earlier, right here. You can just like click on it and it's in the mechanics and terminology down here.
Yeah, it links right to it.
So SSS is Boar Blind Rage.
Oh, yeah, this thing's incredible.
Yeah. But an F is Dragon Slayer.
Yeah.
He got an F.
So, I mean, it's really cool. I really like the idea of
Mhm.
using a basic class to essentially be an elite class counter.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I really, really, really love that. But it really depends on how common Dragoons are going to be, right? How dominating of a force are they going to be in PvP? And if the enemy team doesn't have a Dragoon, this was a waste of points.
Okay, if a team doesn't have a Dragoon,
Right. Yeah, if the team doesn't have a Dragoon, you can't target with this
oh,
ability.
oh,
It
I
says
see.
activate to rush target Dragoon. If there's no
Okay,
Dragoon, you can't target.
only against Dragoons. Interesting. So if it is against a Dragoon, then but it's really good.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so the only reason, again, just in case you just came in or something you're watching, the only reason why this is an F, and the only reason why anything is an F versus an S or an SSS is that how often does it come into play,
Yeah.
right?
How usable is it
How
over
use
how
it
much time?
for how much time? That's right.
In
So
how
that's
many
like
cases?
something to consider because something could still like get an F rating and be an SSS.
Yeah,
And
versus
certain
Dragoons,
situations-
this is SSS.
yeah, against Dragoons, it's SSS. Really?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I would imagine they wouldn't
Yeah.
skimp on the multiplier.
Yeah, right. Okay, cool.
Yeah, this is probably going to be like, I don't know. I would assume this would be almost a one hit for a Dragoon, if not just like an absolute devastating hit.
Yeah. And I love how you do this. Oh, whoa, we got an SSSSSSS.
Yes, this is the only thing I have rated this high. It is absolutely bonkers insane. And if you have a Berserker, I am extremely jealous of you because I want one.
Ooh. Ooh, so Berserkers are bomb.com.
Yeah.
So upon death, this hero may cast X additional abilities at the end of the round. Huh. What does
X
that mean?
probably won't be one. So that means when it dies, it gets to cast abilities as it's dying.
It gets to cast the abilities that it hasn't used.
Right.
Oh, wow.
Probably not all of them. Again, X is a placeholder in that description. But say it's me and you at the very end. We got one each. I got a Berserker, and you've got whatever. You've got a Dread Knight, right?
Oh,
Like I'm just getting stomped, right?
yeah.
And you're down to half health, and I'm down to you just killed me right then and there. Instead of dying, I get to cast multiple turns
Oh, man.
worth of abilities.
That is. And is that a
Potentially
passive?
killing you in the process.
Is that a passive?
Yes.
It's a passive.
That is a passive ability. So this came out before they had
okay.
the. Yeah, I haven't added the.
Okay, you
lines
haven't
in yet.
added that column yet. Okay.
So this is absolutely insane. Now imagine
with Second Life.
Imagine if it was paired with Second Life.
The passive Exalted Transcendent ability.
Yeah, if you've got a Berserker with Second Life, give it to me, please. Please give it to me. Oh my god.
That is like game over.
You got to kill that thing twice, and twice it gets to just deal extra abilities on its death for free. For free.
Okay, so here's a question. It can only be used one time during the whole match, though. Isn't that including the death? Like,
for Second Life, this does not say that.
Huh. Like, even Second Life, just getting this out of the picture, Berserker, get it all out of the picture.
Mm-hmm.
Can't you still, even if in second life, you come back to life again, 50% health. Doesn't it still hold that you can only use the skill one time, or do you get all of them back?
Oh, okay. So you're talking about the active traits?
Yeah, the active traits are these skills here.
So skills, we don't actually know if you can only use them once.
Oh.
It may be completely mana dependent. It could be
Gotcha.
mana or whatever the cost is, right? I have a feeling that some of
It's
the
the mana
Berserker
cost.
abilities are going to cost mana and HP.
What's going to cost mana and HP?
I think some of the Berserker abilities are going to cost HP to use.
Okay. Hey, that dude, that is exactly what happens in Fight Club.
Right? I think it's going to be really? Wow.
With Berserker too, specifically. And he's OP in Fight Club.
That's good to know.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, a Berserker is the only one that has access to funeral rites, which is the capstone ability ultimate. And it's just absolutely insane. We're talking about action economy, right? Now, for free, I may have been able to go that round, right? I've already used my turn, and then you kill my Berserker. Now, for free, I get to do X amount of turns worth of abilities for free.
Yeah,
that's just you just gain turns from that. You're just gaining action economy from that. It is absolutely insane and combos with so many different things.
Yeah, this is nuts. And do you think each time we send a hero into combat, we'll be able to reselect this every time? Right? So we can, like, next time if I want to try, if I try bear and then I change my mind, I want to try boar the next time.
Oh yeah, you could definitely do that.
Okay, every single time we combat.
Yeah, they've already said there's going to be a respec fee, and it's going to be low. You'll be able to respec whenever you want.
Okay. And so Johnny says he's got a Dark Knight with Resurrection, Hardened Shield, Foresight, and Stalwart.
Oh hell yeah.
That sounds cool.
That's good. I mean, if Dark Knights come out to be like tanky, bruisery units, that's going to be extremely useful because the resurrection being on your Dark Knight is saying, come hit me. Come attack me instead. Like, that's a psychological taunt rather than a mechanical one.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So we need to wrap this up as far as talking on the sheet, and maybe wrap up the whole show because we're already, golly, I'm such a time warp. It just blows my mind.
I could talk shop about this all day long.
I could too, man. I really actually could. So the only last thing I want to go over, if you have a Berserker, okay, it looks like as far as leveling the hero, back to yesterday's discussion, endurance is on here, agility, vitality, strength, obviously, are all come into play significantly, it looks like. Strength again, agility again.
Oh yeah, strength is going to be
luck,
super good.
Yep, there's luck, wild frenzy, and that gets an A rating. So you want a Berserker with luck. You want strength and luck again. You got vitality and strength again, endurance again. Strength plus luck. Strength and dex. Here's a dex coming into the picture, and that's an S move at 10. Decimation boar. Okay, HP, which is vitality on that one. Strength again. Luck again. A lot of luck. Agility, dex, endurance, strength, vitality. All those look like comes into play. So all those stats. You got a fishing. If you got a fisher, probably best to just hammer that luck and agility and vitality. If you got a forager, dexterity could come into play. If you got obviously a miner, strength and endurance, both, and then vitality is probably your best bet.
Now, remember, this is also for Berserker subclass as well.
Yeah. And this is kind of my point as to why I've always just followed the profession when I level, because I've got such an array of different berserkers and all the heroes that are all look different. They don't all look the same. Okay, so then looking at the archer, which I'm guessing you're going to be talking a lot about this with Boxeye Chats tonight as well.
Oh yeah, most likely.
Okay, and then let's go over the stats real quick. We obviously Dex for the archer, and then intelligence was a biggie. Surprise. So you're foraging art, and that's an S. That's an S skill. Marksmanship.
This is because it can be picked up by everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Every single person can use that. If you're a wizard and you have an archer subclass,
oh baby,
that's useful.
That's awesome. So intelligence is big for an archer, and obviously Dex. Okay, and then we got Dex again. We got Dex again. We got luck. Luck comes into play here. On this marksmanship, and that's an A skill. Here's more with luck. Luck and Dex again. We got luck, 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 and luck.
Oh yeah, that thing's incredible.
Holy smokes. So you want an archer with lots of luck.
Or a unit with a lot of luck main class and an archer subclass.
Yeah, that too. That too. That's right. More luck. Again, I mean, that's on there almost as much as Dex or more. Dex, Dex, Dex. We got Dex and strength. Okay, strength comes into play on poison arrow. SS. That's an SS one. So several of these have strength, strength, and strength. Interesting. We got Dex and endurance. Here's endurance. So as we have an array of heroes, we want, we might come to find out that fishing archer that I just pounded luck and agility, okay, or that mining archer that I pounded endurance and strength might turn out just to be an OP archer because there's not a whole lot of people doing that.
Yeah, I think this is the main theme that they've been going with is like, we want to make sure that there is no such thing as a bad hero.
Yeah.
Maybe a not as optimized hero, but everyone's going to be useful.
Yeah. And so, and I love it. You even have a write-up.
I tried to do a little quick write-up.
Yeah, the archer class is a formidable choice. And same with Fight Club, by the way. Totally awesome, especially at lower levels. Archer class, formidable choice for players looking to deal high amount of damage and bring great self-utility to the table. I love it. You write it all up here. Okay. Then the knight.
Maybe Wisdom Labs will hire me as a sports writer.
Hey, that was another thought I had earlier. This could even send you to, because they already said that you're already famous right now from this. You're famous in the DeFi Kingdoms ecosystem. Maybe Pervy Sage Baby could hire you. I already had that thought.
Oh, I'm all about it too.
Dude, that would be a dream come true, huh? Okay. No resurrect Zerk, but it looks like have a legendary Zerk with toxic. Okay.
Yeah, that's going to be good. Berserkers have a ton of AoE. So if you're going full bore and you can get to that funeral rites and you could just blast off a bunch of AoEs at the end, you're good to go.
And just think of, also on top of that, not only are people going to be stam potting, okay, when combat comes out for those specific combat heroes, they're just going to stam pot anyways, because we're going to be like, I want to get my hero to whatever, level 15,
Oh, yeah.
And so, holy smokes, just look out for the value of all gardening items. Look out. And in fact, I'm saying this before I want to go buy some right now.
Yeah, I think when they finally release like a good level progression, or they release the rest of the levels all the way to 100, so we can build our full character builds.
Mm-hmm.
I think the actual race is going to be who can get to 100 the fastest, and then send them back to the professions, because they're going to be able to get so much more
Holy
on
smokes. Can
higher
you
level profession
imagine?
quests, and you're going to have way higher stats to
Yeah,
get more multipliers on that.
right.
So I think PvP in the first month is going to be really, really, really friendly towards people trying to PvP, because you're going to have a ton of people that are just setting their profession heroes to PvP just
Yeah,
to get the levels faster.
right. Yeah, so we're going to be trying to level up these fools like crazy. Damn pots. So Swift Thistle, Milkweed, Spider Fruit, Dark Weed, and Shimmer Skin, and Gold, and Tears, and more freaking Tears.
So
Will
many
blow my
tiers.
mind. Just and that gets burned out of existence. It's more Tears are more deflationary. Look out. Oh my gosh. Okay. So lastly, on the night, when you're leveling, so kind of my point is, and you just made a good point, you hit level 100. Just imagine, okay, I've got a thief with 50, was it like 58 luck or something like that, or 56, 58,
Dang.
and his agility is 42 or 44 or something like
Damn.
that.
That's a
Okay,
monster.
just imagine that same, and he's at level 17. Imagine in his Perilous Journey Legendary. Imagine when he gets to level 100, and just imagine if he's got, good Lord,
Yeah, that's going to be crazy.
500 luck and 400 agility or something. How that is going to quest. Because the level, the profession stat level caps out at 100, I'm guessing. It's just like right now it's capped out at what, 20 or 21.
Yeah, I think that's dependent on whatever level quest you're doing. If they've got, level 100 questing, maybe there's going to be advancement there still.
Okay, like maybe that stat could grow all the way to 1,000.
Yeah.
I'm guessing it's gonna stop at 100. The way it feels and looks right now, I think that profession stat stops at 100. But that, again, subject to change, total speculation. Whereas your stats, they stop when you hit level 100, but you
Yeah.
can keep pounding the crap out of that. So just think of how they're going to quest at that point.
I'm honestly terrified about how expensive stones are going to get.
Oh, yeah.
To get to level
Stones.
100, I mean, if you use a lesser might stone right now, what are they, like 10 crystal at the moment?
Yes.
If you use one for every single level,
Oh,
it's
you
not.
mean the crystals.
Oh yeah.
Or
My
the
bad. Yeah, the
crystals.
leveling crystals. If you use one of those over 99 levels, that's going to get pretty steep.
It's, yeah. And now
For 1,700
the drop rate,
heroes.
I think the drop rate of lesser crystals are 1/3 of what they used to be, or maybe 1/2. So that
Dang.
happened a little bit ago. And it was a big noticeable thing for me. That happened like maybe during the summoning event on Crystalvale.
Wow.
Okay. And so, and it was like I was getting like 20 crystals a day. Okay. Because I had like all my heroes in that wallet to make it easier to summon.
Oh, that's
And
great.
then all of a sudden, I'm getting like 5. There was like a whole day I got 0.
Holy.
And now it's like I hardly ever get them. Now I don't have a ton of heroes on there. It's like I hardly ever get those lesser crystals. And nobody's questing training quests anymore because of the tiers.
Yep.
And which means less gold is in circulation. Okay. Yeah, DFK helper, baby. Okay, so Aaron Price. still going strong because we're going to talk PvP. Lots of food. Yeah, Zellies, we hit on this hard. That's part of the reason why the delay. We got big brains on the economy because it's just kind of hitting me literally as we're live. Okay, but lastly, Knight, as far as leveling, these are very important, I think, for combat. Obviously, strength, endurance, and HP, which is vitality. Strength, endurance, vitality, endurance. Okay. Strength,
You're going to
endurance,
see a lot of endurance.
endurance, strength, endurance. All right. All right. Endurance. Strength, endurance, dex. There's a dex.
And it scales with endurance.
And it scales with endurance. And it's an A. All right. So dex comes into play. Endurance, strength, agility.
Yes.
There's
So
agility.
this is actually really interesting because if you've got like a knight subclass on your dread knight, right?
Ooh.
And your dread knight's kind of slow, right? Or it's like medium fast, it's just not very fast. You can select this and activate it, or
Ooh.
have somebody else in your team that has a knight subclass activate this, and they gain agility equal to a percentage of whatever your strength is.
Ooh. Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh. Okay, so actually having the agility stat doesn't help you here.
Right. This gives you agility stat
Yes.
based
So
off of X,
it's
and
the
X is a
strength that
multiple
actually
of
matters
strength.
there.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. The strength, the agility doesn't even matter. It's his strength. Okay. Because I'm talking leveling strategies here with these heroes. As this alpha drops, vitality, strength, endurance, strength, and dex. Here's another dex. And that's it up to this point.
Oh my god, that capstone ult though.
Oh
This
gosh.
this pure knight ability.
Yeah.
So this is like the same as the Berserker's crazy ability. It's not as good, but this is absolutely insane.
Okay. Dang. Yeah, it's not SSSSSSS.
Right.
It's SSS. Wow. Okay, so the only three stats, period, or four stats: dex, strength, endurance, vitality, strength, endurance, vitality, strength, endurance, vitality. I didn't see any others. So as far as leveling strategy, or wait, was luck in there? No, we didn't have luck. It's just strength, endurance, vitality, and a little dex for him, right? That's it.
Right. Yeah, and now I want to also point out these one costs here really quick. Depending on the percentage, this is just good. If you have high strength, get the strength multiplier. If you have high endurance, get the endurance
Yeah,
multiplier.
right.
The more HP you have, the more
Yeah.
effective that percentage is.
Yes. So that's exactly right. You want to follow your strength of your heroes with all of these, right? So,
Yep, 100%.
golly. So a mining knight is really what you want there. Or a foraging. Okay. Do you have any other thoughts there?
No, I think Knight is just fantastic.
Yeah, knight, they did a great job.
It,
Okay.
it stayed so on brand for what the vibe of a knight should be. It was great.
Yeah. Wow. So how much do you think luck will help in knight?
Probably not that much
Okay.
unless you're going for a damage knight. I think luck is going to play a key role in critical strike chance and evasion chance. It may
Oh,
even play into a calculation for block.
okay. Yeah, that's a good point.
So the mechanics outside of damage reduction and dealing damage, luck is probably going to play a role in all of it.
Yeah, and then how about agility?
Agility is going to be important, I think. The faster you have your knight, the faster it's going to be able to provide support, which is what it is. It's a support class.
Yeah.
So the faster it is, the faster it can provide defense and support.
Right.
Unless you go for a just purely passive ability build. If you go all passives, then it is useful the very second you put it out in the field.
Yeah. Oh, what is? You mean luck or agility is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, agility loses value if you're just choosing all passives because it's not, the knight's just going to basic attack anyway.
So it really seems like agility is going to be good for a Dark Knight and a Paladin.
Oh yeah, it's going to be good for everybody. Speed is typically king in these things. So if you've got a little bit of agility, like if you're going up against a mirror match, you're most likely going to win if you've got more agility.
You're right. So if you've got a mythic Dark Knight or Paladin Fisher, in the first 10 levels, you pound luck and agility. At the very least, first 10 levels, you're already going to be awesome on strength and vitality. And I would do vitality as the third option when leveling. It seems like you can't lose doing that.
Right.
Right. Okay. And then for the knight, what do you think intelligence and wisdom will do for it? Do you think that's no good?
So intelligence and wisdom are going to be doing the opposite of what the knight's role is.
Right. Except wisdom does give some magic evasion.
Right. So it's going to be effect resistance as well.
Okay. So wisdom might, but especially intelligence, not going to be super beneficial for the knight, except for gaining mana.
Or in the cases of having a magic utilization subclass.
Oh, right. Huge on the subclass. You always got to factor subclass.
Yeah, a lot of the rating goes into how usable of a ability is this as a subclass, right? So if I've got a knight subclass on my warrior, how useful is all of this? If I've got a knight subclass on a sage, how useful is all of this?
Yeah. Okay. So, all right. And the knight especially is not as good for intelligence, especially or wisdom, but especially intelligence.
Right. Yeah. Knight will have absolutely no use for intelligence other than getting more mana.
Okay. And some of these knight combos down here awesome? It looks like it.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that capstone pure class ability right here, Knight King.
Okay.
Woo!
Beast. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome. All right. Let's call it. And then I'm going to go live with Zellies, who's running out of time. Even if we're short, even if it's brief, we're just going to do it. It might be a short video because I'm running out of steam. And you've got another video tonight. I've also got to get my kids.
Sorry, Zealous.
Yeah, no, it's all good. This was like one of the best shows ever, I feel like.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I've had a lot of fun.
Honestly, was so good. So if you haven't started, you just came in, start back over 2.x speed or whatever, 2.0x speed, and love you guys. All right. So Wowee, let's do this again soon. Like
anytime if you want to take a deeper dive into any of the classes.
I do.
So the next time we get more alpha, I mean, I'll be updating this stuff.
Yes. And we'll probably have more alpha by next week. But I definitely want to dive more into the classes. And I'm guessing you'll probably be doing a lot of that tonight with Bogside Chats.
Oh, hopefully.
Yes. So I'm pumped about that video. And then next week, I want to get you back on. You're going to start a YouTube channel. You already got a Twitch. We can talk about that next time too. All right. So I'm going to, in 5 minutes or so, go live again with Zellies.
All right. Sounds good. You, man. Thanks for the opportunity, man. It's been a lot of fun.
Yes. Workhorse. If you're out there, hire this man. This guy is OP right here. I love you. All right, man. And hopefully we get Workhorse on and I get you on together.
Oh, that'll be a lot of fun.
Yes.
And yeah, everybody expect more to come. I intend to make this accessible to everybody as long as humanly possible. I want to make sure everyone's just as informed as anyone else. No one's got an unfair advantage other than how far they can take it cerebrally.
Yeah, that's a core value that is possessed in this ecosystem that's just phenomenal. You are a servant to the ecosystem, my man. I love you. Crypto Grady and Wowee out. All his info or his Twitter and the sheet in the description below. Love you guys.
Have a good night, everyone.